The article, entitled Inside the NSA's Secret Tool for Mapping Your Social Network, catalogs Gelman's attempts to reveal more details about the programs Snowden first disclosed to the world. What he found shocked him, and, he says, represents an ongoing existential threat to American citizens. Gelman says that originally he wanted to understand more about the logistics of the NSA phone records. The Snowden archive hints at, but does not explain, the details of the agency's project pipelines. At least 11 local news stations in the United States were caught airing the same scripted segment about Amazon and their role during the COVID-19 pandemic. Activist Post reports the segment played like a commercial for Amazon, even touting the company's ability to, quote, keep its employees safe and healthy, end quote, during the difficult time, despite the fact that many workers have been organizing to protest against unsafe conditions and a lack of hazard pay. The segment is even narrated by Amazon spokesperson Todd Walker, who promises an inside look at an Amazon fulfillment center. The trusted local news anchors who introduced the segment did not even identify Walker as an Amazon representative, but instead made it appear that he was one of the station's reporters.
Todd Walker takes us inside.
According to some journalists who refused to cover the segment, Amazon sent the video around to a long list of news sources with instructions on how to introduce it. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
In Baltimore, the streets have gotten safer thanks to the success of the new Permanent Daylight Initiative, which aims to prevent crime by illuminating the entire city 24 hours a day using high-powered floodlights.
It's just that it's so bright all the time, even in the rain.
City officials say there have been zero violent crimes since the start of the program, except for one man who vandalized the light by throwing his body off a building into it. Now let's set our crosshairs on to Mountain View, California, where Gmail servers were down for nearly 2 hours today. In an online statement, the company said, "Tremble before Google. With the mere flip of a switch, we can bring you to your knees." After reestablishing service this afternoon, Google changed its logo and released a statement saying, if not appeased with a 20% increase in Google Chrome downloads by the next vernal equinox, they will take back their generous gift unto mankind of colored conversation labeling. All right, you can take off your helmet. You have survived the News Blitz.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want here, toll free at 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Here with you tonight, you've got Ian.
Nobody. And Mark.
And, of course, you can bring up anything that you want. We, of course, are going to talk at some point about what's going on in Minneapolis, but not just Minneapolis. Apparently, it has spread to some other cities. Massive protests, angry, and rightfully so, people.
Yes.
We can get into that. Plus, Donald Trump has issued another one of these executive orders. This time, it amazingly is not COVID-related. This is about an attack against social media, apparently, and we can discuss that as well. Now, of course, your calls and thoughts are welcome. That's where we're going to start here tonight with Dave on the line, and this is Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com, calling from New Hampshire. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, Dave Ridley frantically looking for the speakerphone button to turn it off. So I found, okay.
You sound fine.
So there's this claim, that like, well, if you don't like it, vote to change the system. Or if you don't like it, leave. Mm-hmm. Well, I did leave. I fled to New Hampshire, and I do vote. But now the latest attempt at trying to make sure that even your vote doesn't count, that's going on in New Hampshire now. So it's this thing called House Bill 1309, which the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is raising alarms about. What it would do is it would amend the text of current law So like when you have a local town vote, the new law would read, quote, unless restricted by any provision of law, the vote on a petitioned warrant article shall be binding upon the town, unquote. So it's just saying that now the petitioned warrant articles are not even binding anymore. If you can find one passage in 200,000, there's 200,000 pages of law, so it'd be pretty easy to find some passage somewhere in state or federal law that says that might throw the petitioned warrant article into doubt in terms of its legality, right? It just makes it easier to sue to overturn the will of the voters.
Yeah, I guess I don't know a whole lot about this. I know that in the case of the school boards here in New Hampshire, these warrant articles are basically useless, or prior to this or whatever, had been useless because they would introduce them at the school board meeting, and then some busybody would stand up and like completely gut the original intention of the warrant article. At least that's what happens here in Keene. So what? Can you read the text to me one more time? Because sometimes it's hard to follow legalese.
So I'm gonna read a separate part of the text, which is very similar. Quote: unless restricted by any other provision of law, the vote on a petitioned warrant article shall be binding upon the school district, unquote.
Yeah, okay. So and you're saying this somehow changes the previous warrant article legislation?
Well, it was already not very binding, right? Because I remember one of the first pieces of political activism I did in Keene when I moved there in 2004 was to stand in a blizzard outside this vote, right? And to hold a sign advocating for some stuff that some school board people were doing. Some school board people had reached out to me, and they wanted to sell this building, this useless building, right, or this unnecessary building. And so I stood there to try to help get the building sold. I just vote yes on something or another. I don't know what it was.
Right.
But anyway, sure enough, that passed. With flying colors.
Oh, I remember this. And didn't they just refuse to sell it, even though the voters voted for it?
They just decided not to sell it.
That's right. Well, in that
eventually,
case,
maybe 5 years later they sold it or something like that. But
well, okay, I guess I'm confused then, David. It sounds to me like this. Now, again, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't really know what any of this legalese stuff means. But my understanding is if it's saying that the warrant article will apply, barring any sort of other provision that prevents it, that seems like sort of a no-brainer. Like that seems like it would make it not a bad
more
thing.
binding, if anything.
Right? Like, what's the problem?
I think it's already more. It would make it less binding, according to the article. The author is Aubrey Friedman, and he goes into more detail, which I haven't haven't looked into.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's all very confusing to me. All this legalese, it's very, very confusing.
Well, one thing's clear is that for whatever reason, and I don't know why this is. I don't know why local politicians tend to give up their power to state politicians who tend
they don't want to.
It seems to happen, and then the state politicians
look back at the Civil War, and you'll see the answer to that. You'll also find the answer in the 17th Amendment to the Constitution. Now, the 17th Amendment, it sounds like a good pro-democratic thing when you think about it. But what it did is institute popular election of senators.
Oh, that was that
U.S.
one.
senators.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, before that, senators were chosen by the state legislatures.
Right.
So basically, they gave the Senate gave the states a voice in the federal government, and the expectation was that they would be jealous of state power. And when I say jealous, I mean distrustful of the federal government.
Makes
and
sense.
of handing their power over to the federal government. So the people then, it was hoped, would be able to play both ends against the middle, if you will. Use the state governments to keep the federal government in control, and use the federal government to keep the state governments in control. But when you take away when they took away that power from the state legislatures and they gave it to the people. But the
state legislatures gave it away because they had to have participated in this, right? Like 3/4 of the states had to sign off on this.
Yeah, they did, and that was in the context of the Civil War. Okay. There was a whole slew of amendments that took place at that time, and the Civil War was the beginning of a castration of the state governments, and the 17th Amendment
It's been
was
pretty effective.
more or less the end of it, so that the state governments are now fully owned subsidiaries of the federal government, more or less.
Oh, by the way, I need to correct myself pretty majorly here. I've got it backwards. I guess 1309 is trying to make it so that it's harder for them to overturn the will of the voters. I was thinking 1309 would make it easier.
Like.
Yeah,
so
that's what
actually
it sounded like to me. So I'm glad that we agree on this one now.
Yeah, so you're right, Ian. This would make it actually harder to overturn the voters.
But are you
than
saying
it
the
currently
Liberty
is.
Alliance is trying to alert people against this bill or in favor
So,
of it?
no, I'm backwards. The Alliance is trying to alert people that they might want to, but that it exists. I don't know if the whole Alliance supports it, but they're just drawing attention to it. And it looks like the guy who's writing this article thinks the bill is potentially going to make things better.
Are they even meeting at this point, the state legislature? As I understand it, the legislative building is locked in New Hampshire.
That's correct, but they're meeting on June 9th, I think, or
so
maybe
they
June
are
11th.
they're coming back into session. Okay,
That they
look
will
out. The
meet-
legislature's coming back.
No man's life, liberty, or
will-
property is safe when the legislature is in session.
Yeah, they're bringing back parking tickets now too in downtown Keene after having a break on that for 2 months or something like that. Hey, Ridley, anything else you want to share?
Oh, I've got a lot of videos coming out that may be of interest, but other than that, nothing.
Tease one
You'll
of them.
see those on
Give
the-
us a tease on.
You'll see those on the channel. But you'll see what happened when I tried to follow up on so Garrett Ian. Remember that time in 2011 when he got kicked out of the farmers market in Concord?
Not really, but I believe that he could.
Oh my gosh, it was great. They shut off his camera right when he tried to film them stopping him from demonstrating or something like that on a public street. So I've been keeping that in mind for a long time, and I was never sort of in Concord, at the same time as the farmers market. But I remembered that happened 9 years ago, and so I finally showed up, this weekend, and I did the same thing as Garrett, more or less. I demonstrated and tried to film, and you'll see what happens.
I love Ridley. He throws back to all these old things that happened years ago, and then tries to hold politicians accountable for it 7 years later or whatever. And it is pretty entertaining because they didn't know about it back then, and they certainly don't know about it today. They try to stay ignorant of their bureaucrats violating people's rights. Hey, thanks for the call tonight, Dave. I appreciate it. Check out his video channel over at RidleyReport.com. You'll probably enjoy it. He's pretty talented. We got more coming up. You can share your thoughts with us here on Free Talk Live. The protests are on the way.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Local.bitcoin.com.
This COVID-19 thing has turned the world upside down. Regardless of what you believe about it, it has changed our lives. But what's not changed is that if you own a business, you need to advertise to reach new customers or clients. Our audience is not the kind to stick their heads in the sand during a crisis. They are fully engaged and more active than ever. Special advertising packages are available to you to help you not just recover, but thrive. Email my sales manager, Matthew at freetalklive.com. The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
Free Talk Live.
Some people actually need laws to know what the hell they're doing.
I don't think that's true.
During the day.
No, I have to disagree with you. There's only one law that people need to know, and that is do no harm. As long as you aren't hurting other people or stealing their stuff or damaging their property, then you are being law-abiding, because that's the one great natural law as far as I'm concerned. That's what, in fact, when they say, well, you know how they love to say this in court, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Well, that phrase came about when that was the law, when that was pretty much the only concept you had to get, was that you don't hurt other people. Get it? Ignorance of that law, there's no excuse to ignore that law. That makes sense. But to say that ignorance of all these tomes and tomes and tomes of legislation that we have out there, that there's no excuse for that, of course there's an excuse.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Yep, it's Free Talk Live. You bring up whatever you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Trump's executive order making headlines today to supposedly target Twitter and get them back somehow for labeling a couple of his tweets recently with an alleged fact check. By the way, with you in the studio here tonight, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And Mark.
And want to make sure you know about Divvy. The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to spend, earn, store, and exchange digital money in seconds. Divvy says you'll be able to send money around the globe in only a swipe and instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat currencies like the dollar in the mobile app and then withdraw directly to your bank account. There's no need to wait, though, as Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with their multi-tiered masternodes, allowing anyone to earn by supporting the Divvy network. When the new Divvy wallet launches, because of their relationship with Western Union, Divvy will be in 200 countries, including the United States. You can learn more at DivvyProject.org, D-I-V-I, DivvyProject.org. As we go to more of your calls and thoughts, also on Discord. We got some good sounding callers here so far tonight. Gene, the Christian anarchist, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Nobody, and Mark.
Hey, I wanted to call up and notify everybody of some shenanigans, I think, that's going on with the COVID-19 testing, as if we didn't already suspect it.
All right.
Yeah, as if we didn't already suspect it. But, you know, we've, for those that don't know, we have a medical clinic. We've had about 20 positives now on COVID-19. But the funny thing is, we follow up the positive, the COVID patients that want to. I mean, they don't have to, but if they want to, after they've recovered, they can do the antibody test. So we follow them up with the antibody test. It's a funny thing.
Reveals whether or not they have antibodies, meaning that if they do, they would be immune from the COVID-19 strain in the future.
Either or supposedly from it or they'd have it.
Gotcha.
And they could donate their plasma or whatever. But the funny thing is, we've had, I think, about 16 patients who have agreed to do the antibody test, and only one of them's come up positive. So how is it possible that of 16 patients, only one's coming up with antibodies, unless the other 15 patients never had COVID to begin with?
So how did they get test positive, I guess is my question.
Which test?
The first one.
Antibody? The first test. Having it. Because they come in with symptoms and then we do the swab, send it into the lab, and then the lab comes back with a result.
Is this the same test that found out that the tsetse fly and the mango were positive?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I think it's...
I thought it was a papaya.
I think it's a papaya, yeah.
Yeah, I would look up COVID-19 papaya or COVID-19 mango, because there have been reports that tropical fruit has been reported, has been testing positive for this disease, although I suspect that if you ran an antibody test on that tropical fruit, you would find that it too had never had COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm suspicious of all of these things, and plus the fact that a lot of these hospitals are getting paid huge sums of money. There was a guy yesterday protesting. There was some coverage of the protests in Los Angeles, and one of the guys in Los Angeles is an emergency room, either a doctor or a technician, and he was on the streets with a sign talking about COVID-19, and he was saying that most of the people, that a lot of the people are being tested, reported as positive, when in reality they weren't positive, because he says the hospitals are getting huge sums of money for COVID-19 patients.
Yep.
And right now the hospitals are hurting. Half the hospitals are empty, so they're hurting for
take
money.
What they can get.
So
Which
they're
is
going to take what they can get.
I mean, when you think about it, and this is one of the things that bothers me the most, the hospitals are empty, the hospitals are laying people off, and when you think about it, if there was an epidemic going on, if there was mass death, mass trauma going on from an epidemic, they would need people working outside their specialty to care for the dead and the dying, right? They would need every medical person they could get on deck.
But that's not happening.
And that's not happening.
They're
dancing in the aisles in the hospital because they got nothing to do, which means
and it's a funny thing,
full of dead people or dying people.
And it's a funny thing. I realized when I read some of these news stories that I had lived through a very deadly pandemic in 1969 during Woodstock, and I didn't even know it. 1 million people dead, and
I didn't know it either, but I
was
born in 68.
Well, a lot of the people who were of age don't remember 1968, 1969.
But the thing is, we didn't miss a beat in 69. And nobody shut anything down. The businesses kept going. Woodstock kept going. There wasn't a thing that changed in 1969 due to a pandemic that killed, 100 times more people than what this COVID is claiming credit for?
Do you think that the fear kind of mentality that we see so commonplace these days would have even played with people back in the day, back in the late 60s? Would that have even, caught on in any way, what they're doing?
There's no way they could have pulled this off in the 60s. The people are so much more sheepish now than they were back then. It's absurd.
Do you think that's just because the government has been doing the indoctrination camps, the day prisons, schools?
It's got to be due to that and the public fool system. I don't call it the public school system. I call it the public fool system.
Well, the communication's significantly faster now, too.
But that doesn't necessarily, that's a good thing, right? Like, it's a good thing that communication is faster, but it also means that bad ideas can propagate too.
What's a bad thing is that 6 corporations now control all broadcasting in the United States. And of course, the reason for that is because they control all of the licenses.
Well, it's not true all broadcasting. There's still some independent radio stations out there.
Well, let's say nearly all broadcasting.
It's a good chunk, especially on the television
percentage,
side.
especially in the major markets. Okay? And that's where opinion makes a big difference. So they are driving opinion, and I'll come back to this when we talk about the Trump story.
Thank you, Gene, the Christian anarchist. Appreciate hearing from you there. Sounds like you're getting out of the car, and or getting into the car. If so, enjoy the ride. So you can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. Coming up, we will be talking about the riots in Minneapolis and apparently beyond. We touched on it last night as well, and it's one of those stories that we can't ignore. Thank goodness for the last 2 months we couldn't ignore all the COVID stories. And while I don't relish the fact that there are riots in the streets, it's nice to have something different,
something else to talk about.
I don't relish the fact that some people are undeniably sick either, but yet we have to cover the truth.
It's true, or at least what we perceive to be the truth. Again, the toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE if you want to weigh in and share your thoughts on any of these things. But first, from thehill.com, and there are a variety of different sources on this story. It's been all over the news today, and that is that Trump is in a fight and a spat with Twitter and other social media, signing an executive order today aimed at increasing the ability of government to regulate social media platforms. This does not sound like a good plan.
I'm very ambivalent about the situation.
We will tell you more about it here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. If you want to jump into the discussion, you are welcome to do that. And then coming up, we'll get into the latest on some of the just absolutely horrifying things being done to private businesses during these riots, and some heroes standing up against it.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. Joining you in the studio, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And Mark.
And also want to make sure to say thanks to Bitcoin.com. Great and longtime sponsor here on Free Talk Live. Great place to go to get started into the world of cryptocurrency. Now's a good time to go and learn about that, especially if you found yourself a little more time on your hands. Get on over to Bitcoin.com and start down the road towards learning about Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash and other cryptocurrencies there at Bitcoin.com. It's a great place to go and do that. They also got an excellent news website at news.bitcoin.com that'll clue you into the latest Bitcoin-related headlines around the planet. It's news.bitcoin.com. As we continue here with the story from thehill.com, and then we'll get into the riots that are going on in Minneapolis. Some pretty ugly stuff out there. The executive order, however, signed today by Donald Trump is focused, according to thehill.com, on Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which was a 1996 law that gives platforms legal immunity for content posted by third-party users while also giving them cover to make good faith efforts to moderate their platforms. So in short, what that means, as I understand it, and I'm not an attorney, but we've discussed this Section 230 in the past, the idea is if you're running a website, let's say electnobody.com, and electnobody, I believe, has comments that people can leave, if I recall correctly. I believe there is a comment section.
Yes, there is a comment section,
right,
I believe.
So you got a comment section on your website that anybody, in theory, can go and register a username for and just drop in whatever nasty comment that they want to, right? Or positive and supportive. But it's the internet, so it's probably going to be nasty. And they just drop in whatever they want, and then they leave. And then you're there. You've got a mess, an ugly comment that could be maybe libelous towards somebody. It could have some sort of information that may actually be allegedly breaking a law of some sort, right? Like there could be all kinds of things that a user might leave on your website. In the case of YouTube, uploading a video with some sort of prohibited content, something that YouTube doesn't allow, or a copyright violation, or something else that, whatever other laws would consider to be illegal. YouTube is not, and electnobody.com is not liable under this Section 230 exemption, basically, for the content that your users post to the website. That's the whole idea behind it. And, you shouldn't have to have a law to make that clear, right? Like, if you didn't say it, you shouldn't be liable for it. It seems to me pretty clear, but that's what Section 230 lays out.
Well, let me give you a counterexample to that theory, which is consider a newspaper. Okay, a newspaper is liable for some, but not all, of the things that it posts. For example, I don't believe that a newspaper would necessarily be liable for the content of a letter to the editor.
Sure.
That contained, for example, defamatory information,
but a staff editorial,
or a straight news story,
right,
they might be liable. So there's a
that's a key difference here, right? The difference between what your users, who are not employees or contractors or whatever of the website, what your users post shall not be infringing upon the liability of the website, meaning it will not cause liability to the website for whatever that content is.
But
whereas
that's
if they are your employee,
only considered true if you're not moderating, okay, or if you're not moderating too much. And the thing is, you're still liable for what your comments, of course, comments that come under the heading of the website, and also if you moderate too much, then
you're the creator.
The argument can be that just as a man pruning a bonsai tree is responsible for the final shape of it because he pruned it, it could well be that if you do a lot of bonsai on your comment section, that you would become liable for what was said there because, hey, you took out a whole bunch of non-infringing content, but you left this very obvious case of libel, for example.
Yeah, that sounds fair to me.
There's an interesting argument there. I mean, are you saying that that's how things have been up until this point? Your understanding legally?
I'm saying that's my understanding of it, and that's one of the reasons that social media platforms have been loath to either involve their own voice or to do too much mediation, but that's changed with the advent of fact checkers who are mostly, it seems, government mouthpieces who are brought in by the various and maybe not even the open government, but deep state mouthpieces. Mouthpieces for basically the intelligence community, for the people running the media, which may not be the open government. Those things may not be under control, for example, of Donald Trump at the moment. They're more likely under the control of faceless bureaucrats who run the intelligence agencies.
Let me tell you more about this story. Trump, joined by Attorney General William Barr, addressed reporters in the Oval Office this afternoon before signing the executive order. Quote, "We're here today to defend free speech from one of the greatest dangers it has faced in American history, frankly, and you know what's going on as well as anybody. It's not good," Trump told reporters. The president accused social media companies of having, quote, "unchecked power to censure, restrict, edit, shape, hide, and alter virtually any form of communication between
like a bonsai tree
between private citizens or large public audiences." He also said that if he were able to shut Twitter down, he would. Trump's order directs...
now, I've got to say, the one thing that scared me the most about Donald Trump when he got elected is his combative view towards the press. Now, since he's been in office, I've got to say, the press is not... it has some level of responsibility here. This whole relationship has gotten toxic, and many people in the press have just kind of turned into, Trump hunting paladins, and they're going to, they're going to keep on it until forever. I
find it somewhat entertaining how
I find it somewhat entertaining, but I also find it concerning, and it sounds like Mark's with me on that. And here's an example. What Trump posted was a piece of opinion. Okay, he said that if we use mail-in voting, that those votes will be rigged because they will be easier to rig because there will not be people going out to the polls. There will not be possibilities of exit polls, which one expects to correspond with the actual vote. And so it's not outside the realm of possibility. Twitter came around and said, "That's false. That won't happen." Well, how the hell does Twitter know that? Where does Twitter get off making that a statement of fact, true and false? This vote will or will not be manipulated if it's by mail. It's a matter of opinion, and to label that simply false,
it's
unquestionably false, that's insane. Nobody knows that. Trump may be wrong, but it's not it's not cut and dried. It's not a matter that you can look up in the Encyclopedia Britannica and say, oh, yeah, that's not true.
We could look at mail-in voting as it's gone on in other states and these sorts of things if you wanted to look at some of that. But, I mean, there are arguments on both sides when it comes to this mail-in voting thing, and it's pretty clear which side the Democrats have come down on, right? And the Republicans have come down on another side. I'm so sick and tired of systems, of everything that comes in, across my desk is now a political football.
Yeah.
I'm just so
COVID is political
sick
football.
of it. Right. Either it's going to kill us all, or we have to stay in our houses for the next 3 years while they come up with a nice solid vaccine.
All right,
I want voting to be on the blockchain. Personally, I want to know for sure who voted which way, and I think secret ballot is a bad idea.
You think secret votes are bad?
Later if you want to argue it.
Interesting. 855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free number. You can share your thoughts, whether you want to talk about secret ballots or the protests and riots going on across the country. You can.
Houseflies defecate every 4 to 5 minutes, spreading diseases and germs. Protect your food and your health with Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic, no batteries required, only $39.95. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
So you're wearing a mask every day now?
Yeah.
Where are you getting them?
Same website where I get my neck and body wraps, sunnybay.com.
Really?
And they're handmade, just like their wraps in the USA.
Oh, and good quality?
Oh, very good. These are disposable face masks. And they make cloth face masks, too.
Good price?
That's the best part. 10 masks for only $6.
Wow.
As a public service, sunnybay.com is now making cloth face masks by hand in the Seattle area and sourcing disposable face masks with level 1 protection at sunnybay.com. Get a 10-pack of high-quality disposable face masks for only $6 or choose a handmade, washable, reusable cloth face mask with high 2 layers of quality cotton fabrics. Supplies are limited. Get details and order at sunnybay.com, a Biomed DB design company. Go to sunny-bay.com for disposable or cloth face masks. Just click sunny-bay.com. That's sunny-bay.com.
Are you afraid to go to the mailbox because of letter after letter from the IRS? Are they stacking on more and more penalties and interest? By now, you know the problem won't go away on its own. Don't let the IRS chase you to your grave with penalties and interest and liens and levies. You need real help now. I'm Dan Pilla. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I help thousands of people solve tax problems they thought couldn't be solved. I can help you too. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. danpilla.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Donald Trump says that if he could shut Twitter down, he would do it. But he can't really do that. At least
you hope.
In theory.
He does hold what allegedly is the most powerful position in the free world.
Mm-hmm. Well, except it's not a free world.
It's not a free world, and also there are a lot of things that the United States government can do, or pieces of the United States government, the embedded bureaucracy, can do, because they're in control of things like the CIA, which exists. I mean, the CIA has openly or later admitted to manipulating elections all over the world, but yet somehow we're supposed to believe they
Russia
never do it.
Is the CIA Russia?
Well, the CIA and the KGB do all the same things, just like Russia today probably lies just as much about what's going on in Russia as the American media lies about what's going on in the United States. But I think it's more likely for the U.S. media to tell the truth about what's going on in Russia and lie about what's going on in the United States, because I think in both countries, if the people knew the truth, there would be a revolution before Monday.
So what's going on with this new order that Trump has passed? Well, according to thehill.com, and I have not read the order itself, but it does direct an agency within the Commerce Department to file a petition with the Federal Communications Commission to clarify the scope of Section 230. A proposition. So they're asking the existing bureaucracy to reinterpret, to take another look, take another crack at your interpretation. Because remember, when it comes to government's so-called lawmaking process, and there's all these checks and balances, well, the reality is it's just opinion, right? Law is just an opinion backed by a gun. Mm-hmm. That's what Mark Stevens has called it, and I think it's relatively succinct and sharp.
They call the Supreme Court issues opinions, yes. Even the ones that the ones that most of them agree with are majority opinions.
Correct. And some of them have been overturned with different opinions by different Supreme Courts.
More evidence that they are, in fact, opinions.
Indeed.
Yeah. And a perfect example of that, and one of the most egregious episodes of American history is shown in what happened during the New Deal, where as FDR brought his New Deal programs in, they were struck down one by one by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. Well, what FDR did, clever man that he was, is he looked at the Constitution and realized that the composition of the Supreme Court is not fixed by the Constitution. And so he said,
added people to
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a whole bunch of young people to the Supreme Court to help you guys out. And he proposed adding 6 people, which would have made it 15 instead of 9. Well, what happened after he announced that he was strongly considering that is, nobody wants their power diluted.
Yep.
So the Supreme Court got right in line and started ratifying, rubber stamping everything he said. And this included things like egregious cases like Wickard versus Filburn, in which it was determined that a man growing wheat on his own land to feed to his own animals was engaged thereby interstate commerce and subject to regulation by the federal government. This being despite the fact that his that his actions were non-commercial. He wasn't looking to sell the wheat. He was looking to feed it to his own animals, and it was intrastate in scope.
Yep.
His animals lived on the same land and in the same state as the farm.
Yeah, now there is a constitutional amendment I could get behind, fixing the size of the Supreme Court. 9 seems fine to me. I mean, if that's the number we want to go with, I don't really care what goes on. I would prefer not to add anything because because neither side will be able to agree on it. If you just keep it fixed at 9, then that's fine. But the president shouldn't have that power to stack the deck like that.
Yeah, I mean, you could pass a thing saying we'll add 2 in a decade or something, because then you don't know who's going to be in control of the federal government in a decade. So it's more neutral that way.
I presume the Supreme Court building's outfitted for 9 justices, since that's how many we have at this point. I doubt there's a lot of open space, so I just presume 9. I wouldn't want to shrink the number.
Adding would be a good idea. I don't see any reason to do it. There's no reason. I mean, they've managed to find 9 shills to sit in as justice. Why can't they find 15 shills? They've got trillions of dollars, and they can't find 15 people who are willing to both wear a dress and be bought? That seems unlikely.
Surely they could. Trump's order, again, is going to ask the Commerce Department to file a petition with the FCC to clarify the scope of Section 230, which is a proposition that has already drawn rebukes from 2 Democratic members of the 5-person commission. Another section of the order would encourage federal agencies to review their spending on social media advertising. Trump and Barr indicated that legislation on Section 230 could be incoming. Barr didn't provide further details, while Trump suggested they could just, quote, remove or totally change Section 230. Again, for those just tuning in, Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act is the one that ostensibly gives platforms online legal immunity for content posted by their users, by third parties, not the platform itself. Fundamentally, Trump cannot rewrite the section without Congress's help, of course. Any efforts by agencies like the FCC to make determinations about how the law is applied would almost definitely be challenged and ultimately become a matter for a judge to decide. But unfortunately, that's the reality of executive orders, at least that we've seen. Even though they're not laws, if a executive like Trump or a governor of a state writes out some order, puts his signature on it, and all of a sudden all the executive branch starts acting like this is the law, well, the only way that you can challenge that is if you get arrested by them or targeted by this particular order. So therefore, they've got you under their thumb. Now, maybe you've got access to money to buy an attorney if they didn't freeze your bank accounts and, crack down on you in that way.
Presuming they didn't kill you while arresting you.
Right, like squeezing the life out of your neck. So, presuming you can do all that and, bring it to an attorney and the attorney takes the case and you pay the attorney, then you can go to court and maybe you'll have a chance of convincing the robed men and women at some level, because you'll probably have to go higher and higher and fight this continually and spend God knows how much money on the whole process. Then if it all works out in your favor after you've spent, $100,000 or whatever the attorney's fees would be to go up to the U.S. Supreme Court, then maybe the men and women in those robes would say, you know what, that executive was wrong for making this order. Order overturned. There goes 5 years of your life spent in courts fighting over this.
And quite possibly in prison, because remember, you don't appeal until after you've been convicted and sentenced.
Right, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of your dollars, because when the government fights a case, they spend your money. When you fight a case, you spend your money.
Yeah, they've got a very simple rule. It's very clear, okay? First off, if you screw up, you got to pay, okay? Second off, if the cops screw up, you gotta pay. If the judiciary screws up, you gotta pay. If the prosecutor screws up, you gotta pay. And if the Supreme Court screws up, you gotta pay. No matter who screws up, it is the serf the slave to the system who must finance it.
Well, they say it's that we are the government, and that is true when we have to pay for things. Like, we are the government because the government comes to us for the money, but that's it. It's not like you've got a choice as to whether or not to pay.
Nietzsche's response to that was, government is the coldest of cold monsters. Coldly it lies, and this lie drops from its lips, that I, the government, am the people. Everything that government says is a lie, and everything that government has been stolen. That's Nietzsche.
Good one.
Nietzsche was right.
I like the statement, but nothing can lie all the time. It must embed the lies in truth, right?
Well, those are the more effective ones.
Those are the only ones that work.
It must be certainly circumspect about the lies that it tells. It has to be careful to confine its lies to things not easily verified, which brings us back to why I said I oppose secret ballot voting. And the reason is I want a piece of paper published by the government that shows my name and what vote they recorded for me, because that way they can't just throw my ballot away and record whatever they feel like it. I want a receipt.
I like that, but I'm not sure that would entirely work. There's a reason for blind
All right, we'll share
secret
that.
ballots.
Coming up here in moments, 8:55, 450 free like freedom. It's Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Is oral health important to you? If you don't like your own teeth, fresh breath, or kissing people, then by all means stop listening. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I became passionate about the product that she created and never want to live without it. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, but I find it does much more. They want you to love My Magic Mud as much as I do, so they're giving you a money-back guarantee plus 20% off. Go to mymagicmud.com and use coupon code FTL20 at checkout. mymagicmud.com, FTL20.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,713, silver at $17.68, and Bitcoin is trading at $9,135. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/freekratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, police officers in Minneapolis were caught on video as they responded to a call over an alleged forgery in progress. In the disturbing 10-minute viral video, officers proceeded to hold down 46-year-old George Floyd with a knee on his neck for over 5 minutes until he died. The Free Thought Project reports that after the incident, police claimed Floyd was resisting, so they had no choice but to use force. However, new videos have surfaced showing a compliant Floyd with handcuffs on, not resisting. The original video was so disturbing in nature that thousands of people took to the streets of Minneapolis to protest on Tuesday. While much of the protest remained peaceful in front of the police station, all hell broke loose as protesters destroyed police cars and broke the department's windows. The new videos are shedding much-needed light on the moments that unfolded before Floyd was murdered. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. Most people know by now about the surveillance abuses perpetrated by the NSA earlier this century. But a new book about Edward Snowden suggests that the metadata collection programs introduced to us through previous whistleblowers and disclosures are part of a live, ever-updating social graph of the U.S. that's ongoing and far vaster than we previously had imagined. Activist Post reports the revelations come from journalist Barton Gellman, who described the content of his new book, Dark Mirror, Edward Snowden and the American Surveillance State, for Wired. The article, entitled Inside the NSA's Secret Tool for Mapping Your Social Network, catalogs Gellman's attempts to reveal more details about the programs Snowden first disclosed to the world. What he found shocked him, and, he says, represents an ongoing existential threat to American citizens. Gellman says that originally he wanted to understand more about the logistics of the NSA phone records. The Snowden Archive hints at, but does not explain, the details of the agency's project pipelines. At least 11 local news stations in the United States were caught airing the same scripted segment about Amazon and their role during the COVID-19 pandemic. Activist Post reports the segment played like a commercial for Amazon, even touting the company's ability to, quote, keep its employees safe and healthy, end quote, during the difficult time, despite the fact that many workers have been organizing to protest against unsafe conditions and a lack of hazard pay. The segment is even narrated by Amazon spokesperson Todd Walker, who promises an inside look at an Amazon fulfillment center. The trusted local news anchors who introduced the segment did not even identify Walker as an Amazon representative, but instead made it appear that he was one of the station's reporters.
Todd Walker takes us inside.
According to some journalists who refused to cover the segment, Amazon sent the video around to a long list of news sources with instructions on how to introduce it. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
The zebra of the plains is perpetually hunted by a myriad of merciless predators. With no purpose other than to feed monsters, the zebra spends its entire life standing around awaiting a violent death. They are nature's ultimate prey. The zebra paces the earth, patiently going through the motions of life, knowing that at any moment it will end in a sudden shock of pain and brutality. With its black and white stripes serving as an ostentatious beacon to any nearby predators, the zebra whiles away its time before gruesome elimination. Zebra wait on the pantry shelf that is the African plain before something finds it and, at last, remembers to eat it.
This is the Onion News Network.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Are we going to see a significant change or perhaps gutting to Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act? What does that mean? Well, that's the part of the 1996 law that ostensibly made it so that website operators don't have to be held or cannot be held legally liable for the statements made by their website users in a comment section or a forum or, YouTube or some other kind of site where content is sourced from the user community. We can talk more about that, but we're actually going into a discussion about, of all things, the secret ballot. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And Mark.
Now, Nobody, you are going to be on a ballot likely coming up this fall as you're going to be running for the governor's gubernatorial election here in New Hampshire up against the incumbent in the Republican election, up against Sununu, this tyrant who actually is referred to as His Excellency in the governor's emergency orders.
Excellent.
What are you running as, a liar, a thief, or a wishful thinker?
I'm lying as a better gangster, or I'm running as a better gangster. Okay, and I'll tell you what, if any other gang brought me in as a gangster consultant, how wanting to know how they could be a better gangster, and I looked at their record and I saw that their record was what the U.S. government or the New Hampshire state government was doing, my response would be, first off, you guys are stacking too many bodies and you're going to piss people off. You cannot go around stacking bodies and expect to get away with it for a long time, because you start killing off people's loved ones and they don't care about civility anymore, and they should not.
Well, the New Hampshire the New Hampshire gang is definitely not stacking nearly as many bodies as some of the other ones out there. I mean, there's some pretty horrific stories that come in some other places. In fact, Minneapolis is the most recent one, and we can talk more about what's going on there.
They're not killing anybody or as many people. Okay, but people are definitely dying in New Hampshire. People are definitely getting brutalized in New Hampshire. And lost in the Minneapolis story has been this kid who got dragged from his dragged from his car by his dreadlocks.
This was in Albany, New York, correct?
No, this was in New Hampshire.
As I understand, it was a New Hampshire man who went to Albany, New York. Did I get that backwards? Did I get that backwards? Maybe he was an Albany man who came to New Hampshire.
I think we'd better find out, because I thought it was New Hampshire State Police that did this, and I was planning on making it a topic at my press conference.
Yeah, I need to know who was where at what time, because I have to decide whether I'm rooting for the police or not on this one.
Yeah.
I'm not rooting for the police either way.
He is from Albany.
Oh yeah, he's from Albany. Okay, so
yeah. But it happened in New Hampshire.
Yep, it sure did.
He was accused of driving a stolen car. His car was not stolen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they simply got it wrong. They broke his window.
Wow.
They dragged him from the car by his dreadlocks. Okay, this is not acceptable behavior. It is right here in New Hampshire.
Sure.
And we need to get out in the street. And we need to start doing something about these things, because we cannot have this kind of brutality going on in New Hampshire. It's unacceptable. But certainly, and the other thing is, even when they don't kill, stacking bodies includes, to me, doing permanent irreparable harm to people, and they have done permanent irreparable harm to me by throwing me in prison. They have done permanent irreparable harm to many innocents by throwing them in prison, by taking their freedom, by taking their opportunities away from them, by taking their businesses away from them, and this is absolutely unacceptable.
And you think that moving to a non-secret or public ballot would actually be of assistance? Now, let me see if I understood what you said earlier. You said that you support not using a secret ballot. You are against a secret ballot because you want to be able to verify publicly that you have indeed voted and the way in which you did vote.
Yeah, and I won't say I haven't cast any votes that I'm ashamed of. I voted for Bill Clinton in 1992, and I am, in retrospect, ashamed of that. I think that my motives were good. I thought he was going to do good things, but the effects of my actions were bad. More people went to prison. I thought he might even legalize weed since he had smoked himself.
Right.
I remember thinking that back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were good old days.
Here we are 30 years later or whatever.
Well,
25 years.
Weed's getting pretty legal.
Well, now, okay, so Mark, I'm just going to predict here. You're going to object to his opposition to the secret ballot because the traditional reason for secret ballots is so people can't intimidate you.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, think about it
Into
for a
voting,
second.
certainly.
Likely Trump is in place right now because of the secret ballot. I mean, how many husbands out there voted for Trump but told their wife they voted for Clinton? There's quite a few of them.
Because their wife can't go check and see.
Right. You know, everybody goes into the little thing by themselves. In the last case, I went to vote. I took my son, and we filled it out together. It's probably a better civics lesson than it is a statistical likelihood my vote was meaningful. So, pick whatever you want, son. But we had a conversation about whether we should vote for the Republican or the Democrat or the Libertarian. Now, clearly he did not get the most unbiased opinion. So he decided to vote Libertarian in the, I think it was the gubernatorial election that was recently, I don't know, here in New Hampshire. But
okay.
now
There every 2 years. Mark.
Now I'm a resident of Saipan. I don't have to worry about you people and all your nonsense voting.
Okay,
Wait,
well,
you're
nobody-
residents of where?
The CNMI, the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands.
Oh, okay. So you're still officially a resident, even though you're not there.
Got my driver's license.
Okay,
Right?
interesting.
I went down to Florida afterwards. I wasn't a resident of there.
True.
Nobody, what is it that you have to say to respond to that objection? That's the most common reason to have a secret ballot is that you can't be intimidated to vote in a certain way.
It is not an unreasonable objection. There are people, employers, husbands, wives, who might intimidate you, say, I'm going to fire you if you don't vote the right way. But let's keep our eye on the ball. What is a vote? A vote is there to impose your will on your neighbor, okay? And I say that in my case, I encourage people to vote for me because I hope their will is not to impose on their neighbor, but yet, that's what a vote is. And if you're going to do that, if you're going to say, I'm going to have my opinions backed by a gun, then you should be willing to stand up and loudly and proudly explain why you thought that was a good idea.
Well, I mean, but that doesn't mean that people won't be, pushed to vote. For one, hey, look, I don't feel strongly enough between these two as to whether or not I should vote. And then whomever it is that's intimidating me in whatever way they're intimidating me might say, oh, well, that's fine. I feel strongly enough that you should go vote, so go ahead and do that.
Or else.
The consequences are whatever the consequences are.
Yeah.
Maybe the consequences are you have to eat hot dogs for the next 4 years that you make yourself. Or the consequences are they beat you up in the back alley. I don't know what the consequences are, but
it's a nice shop you got here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it.
There's a way to split it down the middle. You were talking about using the blockchain to vote, and that is a immutable ledger. It's really great technology. And I think it should be used for voting. But one could have one's hash or whatever the terminology is. This a
secret blockchain vote that's still accountable.
Accountable. So the vote would be next to the whatever the hash is. But you would have your hash, and you don't necessarily have to give it out. Now,
that's
presumably,
that does not sound like a bad idea. There might be a compromise in that area where you could choose whether to open your vote or not.
Oh, now that's a good idea. Give the option to the voter.
Exactly. Basically, if you publish your key, your public key, okay, then that would perhaps be enough to decrypt your vote without casting a vote on your behalf.
Of course, I don't know if that solves the intimidation issue.
Yeah, I have one more thing to say about that.
855-450-FREE is the toll-free number. You can join us here. This is Free Talk Live.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
When I adopted her, she was a mess. Scabs, itching, licking, missing fur, hot spots, a thin, dull coat. So I take the dog to the vet for the standard run-of-the-mill tests and treatments. No results. I hear your advertisement on the radio.
DINOVITE.com.
So I get the 5-pound box of Dynovite and the Lico Chops within a 4-week total. Instead of a German Setter, I have a German Shepherd. Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life because she gets fed Dynovite. And the results, they're just incredibly outstanding. And she loves it. When you rescue a dog, you have to do the right thing. You've got to feed him right for life. Do the Dynovite. Dynovite for life.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free and take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. What's going on out in Minneapolis? There's some pretty awful news from these protests that turned into riots, turned into looting, and lost sight of what the original point of all of it was supposed to be. We can tell you more about it, but we've ended up talking actually about the secret ballot. Is it something that we'd be better off without? That's what nobody is here arguing tonight, our co-host. And then, Mark, you're taking the side that the secret ballot is a valuable thing to have. And I'm leaning towards that side myself, but I'm open to persuasion on this. We're going to continue with that discussion, but also I want to make sure that you know about Intercoin. You know what? Intercoin has actually been working on helping
voting.
It's one of the things you can do with Intercoin. They've been helping democratize power to the people in their local communities. Cryptography enables people to hold secure and private elections about any matter of community governance and could even be used for securely tallying and reporting results for national elections. Intercoin has also pioneered provably random polling that is unaffected by poor voter turnout or spoiler effects. It can be used to continuously adjust levers of monetary policy, such as how much UBI to issue the next day. Intercoin is attempting to regain some of our freedoms that are threatened on the internet and in meat space, and we think that's important here on Free Talk Live. So important that Free Talk Live accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Incorporated for advertising. If you think freedom is important too, check out Intercoin at intercoin.org. You can invest in this project and potentially make big gains, or just be involved and perhaps shape its future. That's intercoin.org. And I suspect that with Intercoin, you'd be able to set up your voting in different ways. And we were just talking about a possible middle ground where maybe the voter could decide, flip a switch. Do they want to publish the results, what they decided to vote or not? Would that be a benefit?
Well, so, science fiction often precludes predicts the future, right? I remember reading a comic back in the 80s. I believe it was called Anarchy Comics, and it suggested that we would all have a communication device that we carried around with us on our wrist, of course.
They were right.
I do have a communication device on my wrist, but I actually use the one that I carry around in my pocket much more.
Sure.
And that this device would give us the ability to sort of participate in government and vote on everything. Now, that doesn't really happen, but it wouldn't take much to create an app that uses the blockchain. I suspect the boys over there at Intercoin already have something rolled out that will exactly work for everybody in the United States to get suffrage and be able to vote on every issue every time. And what I proposed to nobody was essentially that we, have a Swiss bank account number. We call it a hash in the crypto world, I think. Ian, you can tell me if I'm wrong on that terminology.
A hash is a way to mathematically prove that certain data is what you think it is. Basically.
That I'm wrong.
What
do you call the account number for
it's an address.
A public key?
Yeah. The address is a hash, but what you send to is an address, which is derived through hashing from the public key, which in turn is derived through hashing from the private key.
So I would vote through my public key and either publish the public key to say, hey, this is what I voted every issue every time because this is my gizmo and it says what I am. And I have to vote with my fingerprint or retina or both, maybe a drop of saliva. Who knows what they come up with to make this stuff as foolproof as possible.
I mean, I would hope that we could just get rid of the state and end voting.
Sure.
But given that we aren't going to do that anytime soon.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing
Hold on. So I want to make sure that what's clear here is that, okay, so one time I made a deal with my wife that we would exchange votes. That I would vote the way she wanted to vote from governor on up, and she would vote the way I wanted to vote from state senate on down. And that way we weren't voting against each other. I believe this is something that couples should be able to do. I don't know if it's legal or not. And if not, come get me. Yeah. Come and get me. And so we, made this exchange. Now, I did not, but I could have gone in and done whatever I wanted to do. And that's sort of the purpose of the secret ballot. Now, she could have done it too. I know we did this 2 times. One time we did it with absentee ballots, and we actually filled them out together. But the other time we went into the booths, and we just had to trust the other person that they did what they said they were going to do.
Sure.
Hopefully, if you're spending your life with somebody, you can trust them to do this, but maybe you can't. So let's say that I chose not to do that because I consider my vote sacrosanct, and I must vote my conscience or whatever nonsense I come up with. And she goes, then she's going to be like, hey, I just want to check and make sure you stuck to the deal, because I stuck to the deal. So I'm going to trade you my key for your key, and we're going to look at each other's votes. Oh, no, honey, I don't want to do that. Right? Like, you can see how the secret vote, not so secret anymore. So let's say that I'm, instead it's me who's like, all right, honey, tell me whether you voted right or not. Give me your private key, and I need to know what you did. You did the right thing. And I mean, somebody could. The abusing husband is a trope for a reason, right? They exist.
Or a criminal gang trying to get their guy into office or whatever. So I don't know if there's any real way to address this. Nobody. I mean, what do you think?
Well, there's certainly nothing that can prevent an abusive person from violently getting what he wants from people in all manner of ways. And even if you removed that on the one topic of voting, there's still 1,000 things that your hypothetical abusive husband can do to get things that he wants out of his out of his wife.
And they could, even in today's system, the abusive person, this mythological gangster coming into your business and saying you better vote for to reelect mayor such and such, or we're going to hurt you. They can still say, hey, you need to take a photograph of your ballot to prove the way you voted. You not only need to take a photograph of the ballot, you need to take video. Between the time when you finish the ballot, take a video of the ballot, and then watch, continue taking the video as you go and put the ballot into, the machine that reads the ballot.
And they attempted to head off that possibility in New Hampshire by making it illegal to post pictures of your ballot.
They did
online, and all of us, I believe, posted pictures. Or many of us posted pictures of our ballot online because we objected to that.
Correct. You should be free to take a photograph of your ballot if you want to do that.
And, wait a second, though, Ian. So I don't think that taking the video and putting it in the box is necessary, because if the gang wants to decide whether or not you've voted, all they have to do is get one person on the election board thing to say, here are the people who went back and got second ballots.
Well, they're not going to let you get a second ballot if you already put it in the box.
Right. I understand. All they have to do is get a picture of your ballot. Like, click, that's it. Because if you filled out your ballot...
But then they wouldn't know if you actually put it in there.
I understand that, but they would know whether or not you went back for another.
I see what you're saying.
Everybody gets a marker, not a pencil, and, that's that.
So that wouldn't give it to them completely, though. They would know that you had not cast a different vote. They would not know that you had cast the vote that you photographed, because you could have stuffed it in your pocket and walked away.
All right, we got more coming up here. Your thoughts, welcome. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. You can join us on the radio. This is Free Talk Live.
This COVID-19 thing has turned the world upside down. Regardless of what you believe about it, it has changed our lives. But what's not changed is that if you own a business, you need to advertise to reach new customers or clients. Our audience is not the kind to stick their heads in the sand during a crisis. They are fully engaged and more active than ever. Special advertising packages are available to you to help you not just recover, but thrive. Email my sales manager, Matthew, at freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want here. Toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. Joining you, it's Ian.
The nobody formerly known as Rich Paul.
And Mark.
And we're going to go back to your phone calls and thoughts. Derek J. Freeman is on the line. You may know him from Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree, but more recently, he's the president of AnyPay. And we've been very excitedly telling you about some of the cool stuff that AnyPay is doing. There's always something new that those guys are working on over there. Actually, Ari and I went out to their home base of operations in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, a little earlier this week. And you were there, too.
And yes, nobody was there.
That's right. And we, after just a miserable day on the beach on Memorial Day, we had a nice hour or so with Derek J. and Steven. Derek J. is on the line here tonight. What did you want to share with us?
I love putting things on the record. I'm always recording videos, publishing them online, making blog posts. And so I would want all of my votes to be public. Now, I can already talk about what things were the way I voted or keep it a secret. But I did something new. Today, I left a true review. It's a review for some salad and some produce that I bought from a store that I signed with the same signature of my Bitcoin wallet that I used to purchase them. In essence, I linked my purchase to my review in a way that's mathematically cryptographically provable. So everyone can know this review actually happened. I actually bought the product. because there are tons of stores, they love to get reviews. But what about all those fake ones?
Huge problem.
I want truth. I want authenticity.
Yeah, I don't want the competition coming in, making up a bunch of claims that aren't true about something, and just because they can post some fake reviews.
I really don't read reviews for this very reason.
Because there's too much junk.
I just don't know how much junk there is and what there isn't. And I find that, it's bad enough that customers out there, some of them are nuts, right? Like they're just absolutely crazy, and they're going to write things, or they have unreasonable expectations.
The customer is not always right,
or a whole variety of things. I mean, I remember
sometimes they need to get kicked out of the store.
Probably more than 10 years ago, I sold something on eBay. The guy gave me, some bad rating. I don't remember how they used to rate on eBay. Gave me a bad rating because something that I didn't mention wasn't included. Right? Like he expected to get something and he didn't get it, but it wasn't mentioned. Upon looking at it, I see you didn't have this thing mentioned, but I expected to get it, so I gave you a less than stellar review. Like,
it wasn't in the description.
That guy exists, and people like him, so they're hard enough to deal with. And then there's the trolls out there that are just trying to get you to buy their stuff.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing about hanging your reviews off actual transactions on the blockchain is, in order to do that to you, a competitor would first have to give you money. And they're going to hesitate to do that if their intent is to harm you.
Right.
It's almost like adding a proof of work.
Yeah, because, so I could be a public persona. I could be me, Derek J, leaving a review for a business, or I could use a wallet that's owned by, say, a pseudonymous person. So I could be like, there's a food reviewer in the area who goes by the Phantom Gourmet, and you don't know if the Phantom Gourmet is in your restaurant, but the Phantom Gourmet could leave an truly authentic review this way, and no one else could impersonate him.
Really,
so I think
really sharp. How does it work? Tell me more. You said you did this today. So by what mechanism did you do this?
So it was made possible by a few different components. People who value truth and freedom. First of all, a group of people called True Reviews. They came up with this system. Second of all, we used Bitcoin. TrueReviews.io. Second, we used Bitcoin. Bitcoin made this possible because of the cryptography involved. So when I used my wallet to pay for the salad, I then used the same wallet to sign my review. So I posted that to the blockchain. And third, AnyPay made it possible because AnyPay linked them all together. So the merchant is using AnyPay. The customer is using an AnyPay product called Energy City. When they swipe their money button, it pays for their product and leaves a receipt. They can click that receipt, leave a review, and they are the only person who can do that. Only the owner of that wallet who paid for the product can leave a review.
Now, is the review linked to the address, to the public key? And the reason I ask this is if the review is linked to the public key, then anybody who pays that wallet that you paid, by virtue of having an address attached to that, they're paying an address which is derived from the same public key, and hopefully they would be able to see that review because they're paying the same person. Is that how this works, or?
I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
Basically, what I'm saying is anybody who has the address to pay the same person able then to look up your review by that address?
That's a great question, and I don't know the answer.
I'll tell you this. I'm on the TrueReviews.io site right now, and there is a search option here where you can search for presumably businesses that have or maybe don't yet have or whatever reviews. So I searched. I presumed that you went to Fresh Press. Is that what you were referring to?
Yes.
Okay, so I've been to Fresh Press. That's why I knew which one it was, because we took a Bitcoin tour in Portsmouth, which is where Derek lives, and they've got several local businesses down there. And when you said it was Fresh Salads, I knew it had to be Fresh Press. So I typed in Fresh Press, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and it came up. Only one review is on the site. It is, however, not from you, Derek J., but from Steven Zeiler, who is your partner there.
Yes, I was speaking on behalf of Steven. So when I say I did it, yes, it was actually Steven. We were there together. So
You're in the photograph, so you're
Yeah.
in the review. You're just not the actual official reviewer of this. It says verified by AnyPay. It's got Steven Zeiler at moneybutton.com, which is Moneybutton is the method by which you paid Bitcoin. Now you say Bitcoin, but just to be clear, it's Bitcoin SV only that allows this, right? This isn't something that you can do with Bitcoin Cash.
Right, it wouldn't be possible because the data that we're actually storing in the blockchain, the text
There's a
and
photo.
the pictures and
Right.
the rest, it requires a blockchain that can fit data.
Okay, and it goes inside the blockchain. It's not held outside like segregated witnesses.
That's correct. The signature is there.
Amazing.
Nice.
And
the signature and the text, or just the signature?
The text and the signature,
Nice.
it all goes onto the chain.
Okay.
Very cool. And so this seems like a pretty new website. Is still in an alpha version, by the way. So for those unfamiliar, alpha is like a very, very early test operation. Usually you can't even use something in alpha as a member of the public. So this is pretty brand new. Thanks for breaking this news here tonight, Derek J. Freeman. Maybe we're going to see more of this in the future. Was there anything else you wanted to share?
Well, yeah, you guys were talking about voting and whether or not people wanted to make it public. And this is a way that you could vote for something. This technology of signing your vote and then having it be cryptographically provable to others is reality today. It's not just speculation. And as about the ratings on Twitter and Trump saying, oh, we don't want these ratings, he's going to shut them down. I say do more. We should have more ratings. It's the same as having a warning symbol or a warning label, like, oh, this product might contain nuts or something. Okay, so why not let as many people leave reviews or warnings or attach their name to a person's claim as possible, and let it all get sorted out. So if CNN says this is fake news, but then Next News Media says, no, this is authentic, I can say, okay, well, look, these two people disagree, and now I have a reputation that CNN lies and Next News Network tells the truth.
Derek J. Freeman, thank you, as always, for staying on the cutting edge of some cool blockchain technology for us. And be sure you check out AnyPayInc.com and check out the AnyPay cash register as well, especially if you're in business, you want to start taking Bitcoin and other cryptos at your point of sale. More coming up.
This is a pandemic survival alert, and the most time-sensitive messages you will hear this year. You still have time to plant a 1-acre crisis garden and secure a supply of your own nutrient-dense food. But time is running out, and it's one deadline you don't want to miss. Who should plant a crisis garden? Individuals, families, churches, communities, anyone or any group that sees hard times ahead. Let's face it, even the mainline media is talking about food supply disruptions and the growing number of grocery store workers who are becoming sick. But there's more. Meat packing plants are closing, mile-long lines at food pantries, and more farmers now in financial trouble. The truth is, growing nutrient-dense vegetables this summer may be the single most important thing you do. Go to survivalseedbank.com and watch the new video to understand what we're really up against. Get free bonus seeds, special quarantine reports too. Don't wait, every minute counts. Go to survivalseedbank.com. That's survivalseedbank.com.
Jake was in big trouble with the IRS. He owed how much?
$92,000.
Ouch. And the IRS left no room for Jake to breathe.
They put a lien on my house, took all the money out of my bank account, took money out of my paychecks. So it was a nightmare.
He needed help fast.
I figured that all these companies were the same until I called Federal Tax Management. You could just tell they knew what they were talking about. Right then and there, I felt like I had some hope.
Stop the liens, levies, and garnishments fast and qualify for one of several special IRS programs that could reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. So, how'd it go for Jake?
They did what they said they would do. They came through for me. I ended up saving an unbelievable amount. I was so jazzed. I was extremely happy.
If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, take Jake's advice.
Give Federal Tax Management a phone call. If they help me, they can help anybody.
Call the Federal Tax Management Hotline now. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, you are invited here to join us and take control of the airwaves. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. Coming up, we still have the latest on what's going on in Minnesota with the protests that have turned into riots, have turned into pretty egregious property destruction, and all of this over just absolutely horrifying murder caught on video by Minneapolis police, choking the life out of a man. We will tell you about that coming up here in moments. If you want to weigh in, you're welcome to join us, whether it's on this topic or the Communications Decency Act that looks like Trump wants to gut Section 230 out of. We started the show with that, or even the secret ballot discussion. All of those are good, or whatever's on your mind at toll-free number 855-450-FREE, like freedom.
You claim that this police officer killing this guy during an arrest was murder. Which degree murder is it?
Well, it's a great question because it's probably not murder when the police do it. There's probably like a legal exemption for the cops.
Let's talk about a moral murder as opposed to a legal murder, because cops, the laws are written for the ruling class, and cops are part of the ruling class, or at least the protectors of the ruling class.
What I would say there is everything that I saw on that man's face, everything that I saw in his action made me think that he intended to kill that man. And I personally
he certainly
believe
didn't stop when he could have.
That is the case, that he intended to kill that man, that he had some reason for doing it, like maybe somebody had told him, go out and kill somebody today.
Well, that seems unlikely to me, but you can interpret what you want off the guy's face. That's fine, but cops are trained very specifically, and for probably pretty good reason, to not really listen to the people whom they're arresting.
Yeah, but they're also not trained to put their knee on somebody's throat.
His knee was in the wrong place. I'm not claiming he wasn't. I'm just curious what kind of murder it is. If it's murder...
Well, first-degree murder is premeditated.
Yep.
Correct?
So that means that...
Second-degree murder is not premeditated.
He probably didn't know really who the guy was. Or like it doesn't seem to be some kind of ongoing animosity between the two. So first-degree murder doesn't seem to really be a thing.
Well,
here,
wait a minute.
right?
At what point does it have to be first? Hold on. At what point does it have to be planned in order for it to be first degree? If this cop had never heard of this guy before, didn't wake up in the morning with the intention to go and commit murder against somebody today, but then decided in the, like right when he was pulling the guy over, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and ice this guy. That would be premeditated, right? Even though there's no evidence for it.
Right. Well, there's no evidence for it, so likely it will not be premeditated.
But there's also another kind of murder which is called felony murder. For example, if I'm engaged in the commission of a felony, to wit, selling marijuana, someone comes in, pulls a gun on me, threatens my life. I pull out a gun. I get him before he gets me. I kill him. Guess what? I'm considered to be guilty of felony murder because someone died while I was in commission of a felony, and I believe that's treated similarly to, if not the same as, premeditated murder.
I would disagree with your assertion on that. I would say that somebody had to be murdered in order, at the very least, some kind of illegal homicide had to occur.
Here's an example of felony murder prosecutions that have really taken place. You're out committing a felony with your friend Joe. Police show up and shoot your friend Joe.
Yep.
Guess what? You can be charged with felony murder.
In some states, and I don't think the general public finds that to be an acceptable way to charge people. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. I just don't think that most people are like, wait, so you shot the other guy and then charged the other crook with murder? The cops shot the other guy and then charged the crook with murder? That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't to me, although to some extent the concept of felony murder makes sense in that, let's say it played out a different way. They went in intending to rob me but not kill me, but ended up killing me in the process. That is a much better case.
Right.
That's what the felony murder case statute was originally intended to
It was explained to me this way. The two of us go to a convenience store. I leave you in the car with the keys running, the car running, and I go in, I rob the place. I decide to shoot the guy on the way out. You take me in the car. We split the money, and you're a murderer.
Even though you didn't know anything about it, or he
well,
didn't know anything.
I mean, you probably heard the bang.
The big question there, as I understand it, is going to be: was I aware of the robbery? Because if I was aware of the robbery, I'm liable for the murder.
Right. You would certainly have to know that the robbery was going to occur ahead of time.
Right.
At that point, you're committing a felony.
Right. Otherwise, I'm still liable maybe for accessory after the fact if I drove you away from the scene, even if I didn't know.
It ain't going to look good that you took half the money.
Yeah, and taking part of the money, that's definitely not going to look good.
All right, let's go to Rusty. He's in Carolina. Not sure which one. Rusty, you're on Free Talk Live.
I'm on the air.
You are on the air for the moment. Go ahead, Rusty.
Oh, shit. Hold up.
I don't know what you just said, but it sounded like the S word, so I'm not going to hold that up. We're just going to go. 855-450-FREE. That's 8. I don't know if it was going to be a good accent, but he was trying something there.
Yep.
You got to remember, we're on broadcast radio, so if you say something that sounds like the S word or the F word or a few others, we unfortunately have to say goodbye. But you can always call another night and try the crank again. All right, so I think we finished up this voting conversation, unless you guys felt like you didn't get everything in.
There's only one thing I'd add, which is that the intercoin voting differs from most voting in that you might just be casting a vote that is binding on a consent community, for example, users of a particular coin. And in that case, there's no question that the voting is okay if it's part of the contract that underlies the coin, and you can avoid the consequences of the vote by not using the coin. So consent communities would have a whole different set of considerations when it comes to voting. Unlike a government which is imposed upon you whether or not you consent.
So to go back, before we get into the riots and such going on in different places of the country right now, I just wanted to finish up a little bit more about this executive order that Donald Trump wrote today and signed a section according to The Hill of the order would direct complaints about alleged political bias on platforms like Twitter to the Federal Trade Commission and encourage the agency to review whether they constitute, quote, unfair or deceptive business practices, unquote. The Trump administration created a tool last year for reporting claims of bias on social media platforms. The White House first acknowledged vague plans for the executive order on Wednesday evening. Officials worked out to finalize the details, and a draft version had leaked that did closely line up with the final order. The executive order follows a multi-day feud between the president and Twitter, which is his favorite social media platform. At least that's the one that he's known for using.
Yeah, he's certainly known for tweeting
quite a bit.
I've got to say I have some sympathy for the position. Once a platform,
whose position?
Trump's to some extent. Now I'm not supporting it. I say I have some sympathy, and that's a different
You feel
statement.
sorry for it.
Listen to what I have to say. The concern is that once a platform gets so large and so ubiquitous, and I'm thinking of you, YouTube, you, Facebook, maybe Twitter to some extent, whatever the platform might be.
I would definitely include Twitter in my version of this definition, and I'm with you there.
Yeah, once it gets large enough, and I don't know how to define this, I'm not exactly sure, but then they become sort of the public square, as it were, where speech should be allowed. Now, I get that once you're allowing any kind of speech, that it tends to drive out those with the more...
Hold on. Did you just say that the bigger the company gets, the more it becomes a public square? Are you saying that a successful company should become nationalized?
I'm not claiming that it should become nationalized. I'm claiming that the rules get a little different.
Why?
When they choose to only allow one group of people to speak, then it looks like that's the majority opinion in society as a whole. And it isn't necessarily the case.
This just seems like jealousy to me.
Tumblr...
This seems like jealousy.
It may very well be. I have no idea.
It's not your
I don't
website.
see it as jealousy at all.
Well, it's not your website. Okay, so other people ran a website in a way that you wouldn't have run the website.
That's correct.
And you're mad because they're able to sculpt their website to look the way they want it to. Well, that's what you're supposed to be able to do with your website, whether or not you're successful or whether you're brand new or you're unsuccessful.
See, the danger there, from my point of view, and like I say, I'm ambivalent on this. On this point, I understand, I think, what Mark is saying, which is once a service becomes so ingrained that literally it's the only way to reach a massive number of people, and the Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, the problem is at that point it becomes very possible to control the discussion of the entire nation by controlling those platforms, and that's very dangerous, I think.
But they should be free to have that. More coming up. Hold that thought.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now's your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? you can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,720, silver at $17.92, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,443. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/free kratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, the fierce wave of protests washing over South Minneapolis in response to the brutal killing of George Floyd by police took a violent turn Wednesday night as a standoff between community demonstrators and highly armed officers in the Minneapolis Police Department's 3rd Precinct spilled into neighboring businesses, leading to property destruction and buildings set ablaze. On Thursday, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey confirmed that he had called on the National Guard to assist local law enforcement in pacifying the protesters, whose smoldering anger has led to one of the worst mass disturbances the U.S. has seen in recent years. The mayor's request that the military be dispatched to the Midwestern city appeared to be interpreted as an admission that local police agencies, themselves the focal point of community anger, have simply lost the ability to rein in the protests. The Minnesota State Patrol, St. Paul Police, and Metro Transit Police have also been called in to support the besieged Minneapolis Police Department, who have already shown signs of fatigue after only 2 nights of protests. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. As the economy plunges into depression with tens of millions of people unemployed, Walmart is taking no chances on losing its customer base, announcing this week it will start selling used clothing, used shoes, and used accessories on its website. Activist Post reports that Walmart recognizes that consumers have been severely affected by the coronavirus lockdowns, which has sparked depressionary unemployment levels, had to quickly find new ways to continue expanding sales while offering super low prices. Walmart figured a partnership with San Francisco-based ThredUp, one of the largest online thrift stores in the country, could be that solution, where customers can buy pre-owned garments and shoes and accessories for up to 90% off. U.S. President Donald Trump might be one of Twitter's most active users, but has had harsh words for the social media platform this week, after the site fact-checked one of his claims about voting by mail. Trump even went so far as to threaten to strongly regulate or even potentially shut down social media websites for attempting to interfere with political speech and election results. It's the first time that Trump has been fact-checked on the site, as public figures are often given a pass in circumstances such as this because their comments are a matter of public discourse, as offensive as they may be at times. But increased calls for the moderation of Trump's tweets have led to increased scrutiny over his profile. The Mind Unleashed reports President Trump was so outraged by the actions against his profile, he has signed an executive order in regards to content moderation on social media sites. Twitter founder and CEO Jack Dorsey defended the site's actions on Wednesday night, saying he was not censoring Trump but providing other sources so people could look deeper into the issue. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
On May 22, 1992, beloved talk show host Johnny Carson ended his 30-year run of hosting The Tonight Show with a farewell episode that included special guests Saddam Hussein, KKK Grand Wizard Virgil E. Griffin, and a musical performance by the Flag. On May 24, 1883, the Brooklyn Bridge opened, providing New Yorkers with a more efficient way of killing themselves and escaping their trash-ridden excrement-cake city. The monument's historic opening was marked by hundreds of people jumping 275 feet to their deaths in order to avoid waking up every morning with the smell of horse filling their nostrils.
Before the Brooklyn Bridge, there were very few ways for New Yorkers to free themselves from the cesspool in which they lived. One method was to tie cinder blocks on their legs and walk into the Hudson River. But of course, the banks of the Hudson were so brimming with garbage and raw sewage that the putrid stench would drive back even the most desperate suicide seeker.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, launching into the third hour of the program. As always, you're invited if you want to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. We can get to those calls, your calls, and thoughts about whatever you want. Coming up, what's happening with the riots that originally were protests and then became pretty destructive over the last, 48 hours that essentially they've been going on in Minneapolis, apparently have spread to other cities. We can talk about that, and of course you can bring up whatever you want to discuss. Also, we've been discussing the Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. That doesn't sound particularly interesting, right? Section 2, whatever of this and that act. Well, this one's kind of important because it is the legal framework that essentially allows companies on the internet to allow their users to publish things to their platform. So it could be as simple as a comment section over at electnobody.com, or it could be a massive mega website like YouTube that allows, in theory, anyone to post mostly whatever content that they want to. And I don't want to put words in you guys' mouth, but Nobody and Mark and Ian are in the studio here tonight. And Nobody and Mark, it seemed like you guys had, I don't know, I don't want to say you agree with Trump on this, but it seems like you sort of understand the mentality, or
there's something to the statement, right? Like for me, the libertarian statement that, hey, it's your business, it's your platform, it's your website, you can do what you want on it. Yeah. It holds a lot of resonance.
Yeah.
Until you sort of see, these big organizations that have, I don't know, maybe worked with the NSA and the CIA for a decade or more in order to further cement their power. I don't know. Like, I'm just imagining some dark things may go on. Just me guessing here, right? I don't know. But somehow or another, they get so big that they become the public forum as opposed to just a place to give your opinion. You know, it's one thing if you go on like Stormfront, which is a well-known white supremacist website, and you go on there and you say, I don't think this is exactly the way it should be, fellas, right? Like you go on there, nobody really cares in Stormfront. They'll cuss you out or whatever. But when you go on Facebook and Facebook decides, look, I don't like what you have to say, and you're not going to get to say it. And that's happened here on Free Talk Live. We got banned from Facebook.
And it's fine.
For 30 days. It isn't fine.
Yeah, it is. It's not our website. How I don't understand how somebody... It's unjust. I don't understand. It sounds like to me like you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. You're like, well, I like the idea of private property, but if you get too successful, then you need to be subject to what? Government regulation? Rules? Arbitrary diktats by bureaucrats?
Okay, here's a very similar position, and maybe it'll help you see where I'm coming from. I don't believe in anti-discrimination laws. Okay, I think in general they're bad.
Meaning you think that someone should be free to discriminate in their place of business, for
someone
instance.
should be free to discriminate in their place of business. But let's say that the government has come in and formed a cartel like it has in the banking industry, and that all of the members of that cartel then choose to discriminate against, say, users of cryptocurrency in order to maintain a competitive advantage that cannot be assailed. Well, because of that involvement, then I definitely have some sympathy with the idea that either the people that they discriminate against should be released from those laws so they can go out and form their own bank, okay, or should be free to bring suit against the banking cartel and
disagree.
say, hey, if you're going to be a cartel, you've got to...
But that doesn't apply here. I don't disagree with what you're saying there. If you're going to live and die by the state, which is what the banks do, then you will be subjected to all the state's rules, which include lawsuits and things like that. But that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about a state-enforced cartel like the banking system. We're talking about what is a relatively free marketplace as far as you compare the different industries of businesses out there. You know, you don't generally need to get a health code permit or an occupancy permit or a license of some sort to go and open a website. All you need to do is either know how to host it yourself and put your own server online, or hire somebody to do it for you. And
of course, your IP, your ISP will throttle your, will throttle people's bandwidth to your site, whereas it will increase the bandwidth to things like Facebook and Amazon and stuff like that.
Well, if it gets paid to do that, then they should be free to do that. That's not, again, what we're talking about with the idea of a government-enforced cartel.
I don't.
You want to start a website and compete with Facebook? Go ahead.
I don't like injustice or a fixed game or a stacked deck, and I don't care whether a private organization's doing or the government's doing.
Then don't use their website.
You
still are.
Which website are you referring to?
Facebook. Right. For all your talk about how you don't like this and that, you're the one who's there.
I use Facebook as a marketing tool for Free Talk Live.
Okay, well then you got to accept whatever the problems are with that marketing tool.
I get that there are problems with it, and I point them out all the time as often as I can.
Sure, and that's fine to point them out, but then you cross a line when you start talking like you were talking earlier, like, well, once you get too big, we need to look at the government here or something. That seemed like what you were saying.
I don't know what I'm saying, Ian.
Okay, well then why don't you figure it out?
I don't have a solution
Here's your solution. The free marketplace, or what semblance of a marketplace that we have. As I was saying, the free
market isn't working. Right?
We don't have a free market.
Has done nothing but make Facebook bigger.
We don't have a free market.
Okay.
But you have the freedom on the internet to start a competing website. There's nothing stopping you from doing that.
That's
the people
correct.
over at Gab decided they wanted to do something like that, and they did it.
How'd that go for them?
They're still around, I think. They got a lot of press coverage and this and that, and there's other options and other alternatives out there, including some decentralized ones. Okay.
Yep.
You see, the issue.
Quit bitching and do something.
The issue that I have, and one of the reasons that I have some sympathy for Mark's position and even for Trump's position, is that the media is, in my opinion, pretty much a wholly owned subsidiary of the government, because the government owns all the licenses.
By the media, do you mean Facebook, or are you talking about media like television?
I'm talking about the major media in terms of TV, radio, what have you. Well, the reason that Facebook became preeminent, or one of the major reasons that Facebook became preeminent, is the amount of media attention that was poured on them by the major media. The major media doesn't talk about what gets posted to places other than Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
Are you talking about in recent years, or are you talking about when Facebook was growing?
Both, but
was
more
Facebook
so in recent years.
Yeah, I was going to say in 2008 and 2009 or whatever, when Facebook was was growing and competing with places like MySpace, for instance, or 2006 or whenever, that sort of time frame, I don't think they had the same media clout that they do today.
I don't think they had the same clout, but I think they were pushed by the media in ways that other platforms have not been. I think that.
But who could have known that Mark Zuckerberg's little, college website?
I'm not sure Facebook has the clout that Twitter has. I mean, the reporters are just gaga over Twitter.
Twitter, people do like Twitter because it's kind of a different platform than Facebook. It's supposedly easier to reach influential people on Twitter.
Yeah, every time I've sent a tweet to an influential person, they've never paid attention to me.
Sure.
I don't even have a green check next to my name. Whatever.
Yeah, how do you get that anyway?
Vermin Supreme couldn't get a green check next to his name. Yeah. Well, it's very important to Twitter and to Facebook to control the narrative.
Sure. And they should be able to. It's their website. They should control whatever they want about it.
Yeah,
in a perfect world,
because as soon
I
as
would
you
agree with you.
Because as soon as you say that they shouldn't, and I'm not saying you're saying they shouldn't, you're just sort of complaining about it.
They should not control the narrative.
Through what mechanism?
What?
Through what? Like, what's going to prevent them from doing that?
I'm not coming up with a system for doing it, but I'm saying you shouldn't lie. You shouldn't censor speech, especially speech that isn't outrageously false.
But you should also have the ability to construct whatever sort of website you want to, which has whatever claims you want to, whether you're talking about some outrageous, ridiculous claim like the Earth is flat, or whether you're talking about you have a favorite political
Let's start
party.
by eliminating broadcast licenses and see if the market opens up to a wider variety.
I don't think that eliminating broadcast licenses is going to put a stop to social media behemoths, but it wouldn't hurt. There's more coming up.
This COVID-19 thing has turned the world upside down. Regardless of what you believe about it, it has changed our lives. But what's not changed is that if you own a business, you need to advertise to reach new customers or clients. Our audience is not the kind to stick their heads in the sand during a crisis. They are fully engaged and more active than ever. Special advertising packages are available to you to help you not just recover, but thrive. Email my sales manager, Matthew at freetalklive.com.
When I adopted her, she was a mess. Scabs, itching, licking, missing fur, hot spots. So I get the Dinovite.
DINOVITE.com.
And the Lico Chops. Within a 4-week total, Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog. And she loves it.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
Take the Field's mission is to inform baseball players that physical activity is nothing to be scared of, that a little bit of running can be fun.
Now, Rebecca, this obesity problem is nothing new.
Well, right. There is a culture of obesity in baseball that has been around for years. I mean, coaches even sub in healthy pinch runners instead of encouraging their overweight players to hustle, depriving them of the only cardiovascular exercise they might have a chance to get.
And a lot of these athletes have been playing baseball since they were kids.
Well, right. So they might have never learned any healthy habits.
Baseball is fine in moderation. But many of these men spend over 200 days a year playing it, and that adds up.
The program encourages players once an hour to take a 15-minute break from baseball to do something active, like go up and down some stairs, go for a walk, or play some basketball.
All right, well, thanks, Rebecca. If you're a baseball coach and you're worried about your players' health, go to takethefield.gov for a list of healthy activities and nutritious snacks. Coming up next, does America brains get worse hearing words correct?
This is the Onion News Network.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want. Just dial toll-free. Take control of the airwaves. And you can do that. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we do have what is a mostly open platform here on Free Talk Live, meaning that you are welcome to call and express yourself. However, we're not obligated to give you any significant amount of time unless you're interesting.
Yeah, right.
We'll keep you on longer if you're interesting. And sometimes we're just in a rush, just because we end the call sooner rather than later doesn't mean you weren't interesting. It may mean that we have other people on hold that we want to get on the air and give them a chance to.
Right, we can't just monopolize the show. I mean, we make our decisions to take a call or not take a call, or extend a call or not extend a call based on a variety of reasons.
Right. So while we allow anyone to call in about any topic, so long as it's within the FCC's bounds, which is still relatively large range, we also are regularly sculpting the message that people hear on this radio program. And one of the ways that we do that is through the way, of course, that we respond to the callers, but also in which order that we take the calls and, the topics that we're discussing. So we have control over a fair amount of things here on Free Talk Live. This is our property, and we get to make the decisions about it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if we all of a sudden get on 700 radio stations, which isn't really possible, but 500 is technically, as far as talk radio stations are concerned.
Is Rush still on 600?
I don't think so. Probably not these days. He's probably in the 500 range, would be my guess.
There's just not 600 talkers in America?
There are probably, but they're probably not in that you could be like, there's only so many marketplaces. Yeah. So anyway, we're going to get into your phone calls and thoughts here. I just wanted to put out the idea that, look, if I understand it's frustrating when there's a mega behemoth in an industry, right? Like, they are generally awful, and their policies are no fun to work for as an employee, and frequently they affect the average folks in certain undesirable ways. So I get all that, and I get the frustrations. I quit Facebook more than 2 years ago, and it's been great for me personally. So I support that.
I don't think Facebook's the worst of them. I mean, if you look at YouTube. And YouTube, which is Google, but I use Google products, but I think YouTube is a really controlled platform.
Oh, absolutely. I think they very much cut out political content that they disagree with.
Demonetize. Yeah. I mean, they have all kinds of ways of controlling speech out there, and it seems to be the only one
that's the big
out
one.
There.
There are other ones. There's Vimeo and there's MetaCafe.
DLive?
DLive's a live streaming platform, but these are video on demands is what we're kind of talking about with YouTube. Although YouTube has a live streaming aspect. It came later rather than was originally designed.
Yeah, it was an add-on.
But let me get to these phone calls here. Some folks have been waiting patiently, including David in Michigan, listening to WKHM there in Jackson. Go ahead, David.
Well, good evening, gentlemen.
Hi, David.
Hey.
Go ahead.
Pleasure to speak with both of you again. And
there's three of us, but go ahead.
That's true.
Well, I'm staying
Nobody's
corrected.
here.
That's okay. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
It's a virtual host. I want to keep it interesting. And, it reminds me of Obama said, "You didn't build that airwave." What do you mean I didn't build that airwave?
Is that what he said? Airwave? I thought he just said you didn't,
You didn't
build
build
that.
Yeah,
no,
that's what he's applying it to
just
us.
as an analogy.
Yeah.
Just as an analogy. You
Okay.
didn't build. Well, you can't build an airwave, can? I mean, I suppose you could harness an airwave, or however Marconi and the pioneers did that.
It's an RF
Sitting here
wave,
in
but
Jackson,
yes.
Michigan. Sitting here in Jackson, Michigan, on Lansing Avenue, which is just north 35 miles from where I live here, there's a bike shop on the corner. Been there forever. I'm 57. I've grown up in this town. That is open, but there is a shortage of bicycles here. Have you guys heard that out there?
No, I've not
Shortage
heard
of bicycles? No, I haven't heard that.
There is a tremendous shortage of bicycles.
Actually, you know what I did hear? I did hear that bicycles are going pretty hot and heavy, fast off the shelves around the United States because I imagine people want to cut down on their spending, and if they can avoid driving the car around, then that's one way to do it, right? Is that what's driving this?
That's part of it. I think the other part is, probably the majority of them are built right there in China.
Oh, yeah, good
Yeah,
point.
factories have been shut down.
There's also, we have legal marijuana shops here, and heck, they're open, but you can't open a bar.
It's insane,
a restaurant
isn't it?
bar. Within 100 yards of me, I'm looking at the Greystone Tavern on Lansing Avenue in Jackson. It's been there probably. It used to be an old horse stable, basically, on the route to Lansing, I suppose.
And can you get stoned at the Great Stone Tavern?
I've done it. I financed them for years.
Nice.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what you're pointing out is there's a lot of
about it.
arbitrary, decisions being made by the government goons there in Michigan, and it's frustrating.
God.
It's frustrating.
Goons. You're giving goons a bad name when we're talking about Whitmer and her.
She's a monster, isn't she?
Yeah. What else is happening there? I mean, I know there was the mass haircutting event that happened, I think, last week, about this time last week. What's the latest? Has there been anything that's developed this week there in Michigan?
Yes. That particular barber has now been appealed and overruled by a 3-judge panel.
Really?
2-1 that he's got to stay shut.
Oh, God.
The guy's in his 70s.
Right.
Probably had a shop probably been a barber forever.
As long as we've been alive.
Look at the economic effect. Now, Jackson's, 30,000 people, 168,000 in the county, maybe. And it is happening throughout Michigan and these other states. And gosh, like you guys were saying, how much of the business is going to come back? Is there going to be the money to get a $6 hamburger, which is worth it? What about haircuts? My God, dentists. Dentists, for an example.
My prediction, my observation is that what they seem to be trying to do is crush small business while reinforcing the big boys, and redirect as much wealth as possible to members of what George Carlin called the club. It's a great big club, and you're not in it.
Damn right.
And
Damn right.
look up
You did
that
say
routine
that.
if you haven't heard it recently.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the truth, but it's certainly the result.
Yes.
Thank you, David, for your call, and thanks for the update on Michigan, because I had not seen the news that indeed Michigan appeals court, so it wasn't the federal courts yet, says barbershop must close. Despite the protests, NPR with the report that they have said that a lower court judge got it wrong by refusing to enforce an order to shut down Owosso, Michigan barber Carl Mankey, who gained fame or notoriety for cutting hair in defiance of Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer's COVID-19 emergency orders. The orders include a ban on barbers and hair salons.
Gretchen, that's worse than Karen.
Doing business during the declared crisis. Mankey's refusal to follow the orders sparked a May 20th demonstration in front of the Michigan Capitol. This is where what we talked about. Dozens of barbers and hairstylists openly defied the order with free haircuts. Michigan State Police issued 7 citations at the demonstration. We'll tell you a little bit more about what the court ruled Again, appeals court in the state of Michigan saying you got to shut down, obey the governor. 855-450 free slaves. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org. The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love, and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way,
love as your guide,
and liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live, and you're available if you want, or you're invited, rather. If you're available, you're invited to call in and join us on the radio. You can talk about
save.
Anything. What did you say?
Nice save.
Okay, thanks. I thought you said something about stay safe. I hear that so often these days, and it's so frustrating.
Drive fast and take chances, people.
There you go.
Take a risk and grow.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. That's how you grow in life. Is you got to get out of your comfort zone, and in order to do that, you got to take risks. So, totally agree.
Yeah, risks, if calculated, are a good idea.
Sure, but you have to take risks.
Wild risks for no reason, not particularly a good idea.
And speaking of calculated risks, I wanted to get in a few words about the Church of the Invisible Hand. We've just obtained our new server after a stellar couple months of fundraising, and we're going to be working to set up an exchangeless platform where you can send your dollars and get cryptocurrency in return, or you can send your cryptocurrency and get dollars in return. And so keep posted with that. If you've got dollars or crypto that you want to yeet, for now, get in touch with me on Discord at discord.lrn.fm. But eventually you'll be able to go to our very own website and take care of that.
Excellent. And I'm sure you'll announce that once that is available.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to go back to more of your calls and thoughts, and then we can tell you more about what's going on in Michigan with the Michigan barber who has now gone to a Michigan appeals court where the appeals court panel says the lower court judge got it wrong by refusing to enforce an order to shut down the Owasso, Michigan barber Carl Mankey. The appeals court says that, the refusal to follow the order shutdown sparked this demonstration we talked about with the dozens of haircuts being given by a variety of barbers and hairstylists and several citations issued at that. Mankey's attorney argued, among other things, that the order to pull his barber's license and close his shop violated his First Amendment right to protest the reach of the governor's executive orders, and the higher court has disagreed. We'll share their opinion with you here in just a moment. But let's go first to Steve. He's in Arkansas, listening to KPFW. Hello, Steve.
Hey, guys. How are y'all today?
Welcome, sir. Go ahead.
I was just going to talk for a second about this. You know, I'm sick of seeing all of my so-called friends on Facebook posting hashtag I can't breathe. And look, everybody in the country except for maybe white supremacists agree that the cop was in the wrong.
In Minneapolis, the guy who choked the victim out.
Yeah. I mean, the video obviously shows that someone else was on the guy's back. Someone else was on his legs. Mm-hmm. He didn't need to have his knee buried in the dude's neck.
Nope.
You know, I can understand if you're trying to gain control of someone, that might happen initially, and then once you get control, then that ends.
But that didn't seem to be happening here. Yeah.
No, exactly. And there's no justification for what that officer did. Now, my question is all these people that are posting about it, and who are you arguing with? I mean, nobody disagrees with you.
Yeah, it's pretty shocking on this particular one, considering how many egregious murders that various police have committed on video over the last, 2 decades that I've been paying attention, that this is the one now where you're actually even seeing a number of people within the policing profession saying, yeah, they went too far. That's unusual.
Right. Yeah, and there's just no denying it. And I don't know if that's why. I mean, this is probably. There was a few years ago in South Carolina, the gentleman that was running away from the police, and they shot him several times. You got the kid that was taking a jog in Georgia.
There's a
that wasn't police.
The kid taking a jog one has some mitigating circumstances.
But there's been a ton of these things. I mean, look.
Well, hold on. I think the point is that there have been some that really are crappy examples of how black people in America are targeted by police.
It's not just black people. There's all kinds of.
I'm not claiming that that's the case. Okay. I'm claiming that that's a claim. And there's the Michael Brown, for instance. Well, did he just rob that convenience store? There's plenty of cases where it's like, maybe not the best example, fellas. This one appears to be a pretty good example, and maybe that's why they're running with it. Folks are running with it. It's like, hey, finally, we got that good example you were looking for.
Well, I can understand why people are posting about this, Steve, because folks want to feel like they're heard. They have an opinion about this. And if they're not willing to get out in the streets and join a rabid mob of potentially violent looters, then the posting to from the safety of their home into a Facebook or Twitter or something is an alternative for them.
I think that the
Right.
police...
Well, it's mostly rich old white people. And I'm like,
Probably true,
what's
but here's a
your plight,
solution
man?
for you. How about we just go ahead and make the payouts for these things that we're going to have to pay? You know, that's what's going to happen. Taxpayers are going to have to pay over this. Well, why not think about the police pensions instead? Because I think that might very well change the behavior of
if
policing
they had some
agencies.
consequences,
right?
besides the
There's
occasional
really
firing?
not much for consequences. It looks like there's going to be some consequences for these guys, but clearly this guy did not think there would be consequences, or he wouldn't have just laid there with his knee on the guy's neck.
I think that's a good idea, and I think we should also consider, as long as we have police who are magic special people that the law doesn't usually apply to, I think they should be required to carry their own insurance and to pay for their own liability insurance.
Because the taxpayers pay for that right now.
Exactly. And what one would expect to happen then is that if a cop was completely irresponsible over a long period of time, as many of them are,
they'd lose their
that the insurance companies would say, we're not paying for this anymore, and they would jack their rates so high that they could no longer practice their profession, and that would be a very good thing.
Nobody should propose that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that. And real quick, I wanted to let Mark know. Last time I spoke with him, I believe he was in the Mariana Islands at the time. We were talking about handguns. And Mark, I did just purchase a Walther PPS, so I recommend shooting one of those if you haven't.
Well, he can't legally shoot a gun because he's a felon, but maybe in another life.
I could observe somebody shooting it, though, and enjoy it.
I said Mark. I said Mark.
Mark
Yeah,
is the
Mark
guy.
is a felon.
Actually, 2 out of the 3 hosts are felons on the show,
Yes,
here.
it's
Nobody's
true.
a felon, and Mark is a felon. Hey, Steve, thanks for the recommendation. Thanks for the call tonight, man.
We're
I
all
appreciate
felons.
it.
2 of us have been caught.
We continue with
so
Scott.
funny.
He's in New York and watching us on Twitch at twitch.lrn.fm. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, hey there, guys. I got to agree with you on what you said about YouTube a few moments ago.
Can you
I've
speak
been on
right into your microphone? You're a little hard to hear. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I've been on YouTube ever since, you could only upload about 10 minutes of video.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And yeah, I definitely agree. It's crazy. It's crazy how the site has changed. I'm actually a content creator. I have about 8K subs. And yeah, I've been suspended a couple of times. You can get copyright strikes for nothing, and you'll get your account suspended like that.
Mhm.
But anyway, what you said about
But not if you're in the club.
what you said about private sites and stuff like that. Before I discovered this show, I actually called C-SPAN a couple of times because I love the idea. It's like an open forum, but with places like C-SPAN, only old people watch it.
Right.
You got you have a topic every day. You don't have like a free open source. But yeah, the reason why I like this show, I mean, you can talk about anything. I mean, you can talk about Howard Stern's ball sack and Baba Booey's mustache.
Baba Booey. Been so long since somebody said Baba Booey.
I'm going to let that one go. Thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Because I don't think he did technically break any rules there. It was just silly. Thanks for that. And that was a good lead up to what I thought was going to be a crank. So it was a good one.
Yeah, not the worst. It certainly doesn't hit our top 10.
We've had some bad ones though. So compared to some of the bad ones,
it's been a real dry period.
Yeah. 855 450 free. That's it makes me smile a little bit. So okay.
This Walther PPS looks pretty nice.
What's the caliber?
I haven't looked that far into it, but I think it's 380.
Okay.
That's what I'm seeing.
855 450 free. That's the toll free line. You can bring up what you want. Maybe a little bit more about the Michigan barber situation. And is there a business owner near you that is standing up to the tyrannical COVID crackdown that we're seeing?
Do you feel like many of us? All the distractions in the world taking our minds and focus off what really needs to get done day to day? Well, Jeunesse has a dietary supplement called Mind to help with mental distraction, and it supports memory function. Go to gcnlife.com now to check it out. You're only at your best when your mind is at its best. Go to gcnlife.com or call toll-free 844-443-6637. That's gcnlife.com or 844-443-6637.
This is a Corona Crisis Self-Reliance Alert. If you're worried about the power grid in the current crisis and want to generate your own supply of off-the-grid electrical power, just in case, pay close attention. Here's why. A limited supply of solar backup generators will be available again in the next 2 weeks. These emergency backup systems provide life-saving electrical backup power when you get off the grid. And unlike gas generators, these solar generators run quietly, emit no fumes, and produce an endless supply of free electricity from the sun. Dangerous weather, social unrest, or overloaded grids this summer will not be a problem if you go to mysolarbackup.com and get your solar backup generator. We regret that supplies are limited and only available on a first-come, first-served basis. Check availability at mysolarbackup.com. Never suffer painful power outages again. Go to mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com.
Would you like to get back that full head of hair from years past? Now, there is Reveal. Beverly Hills celebrity dermatologist Dr. Nathan Newman took nearly a decade to develop Reveal from natural botanicals to return to a full-body head of hair. Reveal for men and women with a 30-day money-back guarantee at gcnlife.com or toll-free 844-443-6637. 844-443-6637. Reveal at gcnlife.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Yeah, it's Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want in these remaining moments. We may have enough time for you if you call in right now at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, you've got Ian.
Nobody.
And Mark.
And don't forget, you can join us online over at freetalklive.com. Keenan, who is a Free Talk Live Silver amplifier, has done that and is supporting the show through the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. It is a simple method that allows you to get behind what we do here. So if you like Free Talk Live, you like the fact that we do have an open forum where you can call in and talk about anything or listen to people and have them share their opinions about whatever, then if you appreciate us, please go to amp.freetalklive.com and you can subscribe to the AMP program there. You can use credit card, you can use PayPal, you can use Bitcoin, BTC, if you would like, over at ampamp.freetalklive.com.
What about BCH?
Well, it would cost it cost a lot of money to implement Bitcoin. It probably wouldn't cost as much to implement other coins into that system, but it will likely cost quite a bit, and almost no one uses well, of course, Bitcoin's expensive to use, so that could be why, but we don't have like a bunch of people banging down the door saying, hey, can I use BCH, or can I use Dash, or can I use Bitcoin SV? It's not like there's a large demand for it, unfortunately. There's hardly anybody.
Do you have the source for that system?
Yes, I believe it was an open source system provided by... I'll have to do a little digging. I think it was Mycelium. I think they have a open source system that you can use for website donations.
That. I'd be interested in having a look at that sometime just to see if there's an easy route to maybe upgrade that software and get other coins in there, because BTC is so expensive to use now that
it's basically
I'm suggesting BCH, BSV, Dash, anything but the original.
Yeah, unfortunately, the AMP program is a very small program. I mean, even though we're a nationally syndicated talk show and we've been around for a couple of decades now, we don't even quite have 200 amplifiers. So it's an exclusive group. Then we appreciate all of them, including Keenan, who is a Free Talk Live Silver amplifier. You can join him over at amp.freetalklive.com. As we go back to your calls and thoughts, Connor is on the line in Wisconsin, listening, he says, for the first time. Connor, how are you tuning us in here tonight?
Yeah, hi. I actually had never heard of this radio show until Derek from AnyPay. He was on your line earlier today. And told me about your show.
Wonderful.
So I'm actually the founder and CEO of True Reviews. We just integrated with AnyPay to allow. We're essentially a blockchain-based review system to use the Bitcoin blockchain, the Bitcoin SV blockchain, to validate reviews by tokenizing proof of purchase and then tying that to a review.
Yeah, Derek J. called earlier and told us about the system, and it seems like it's available right now in an alpha form. TrueReviews.io was it? Was that the site?
Yep, and I think the more important thing really is I was listening to you earlier. First of all, I've enjoyed the conversation. I'm definitely going to tune in to this more. I thought the conversation is really interesting. I want to say one thing is that you guys had a whole conversation about the free market and social media companies, and there is a big opportunity to build alternatives to these existing tech companies that aren't doing things the way that we want them to. And I think the Bitcoin blockchain, specifically the Bitcoin SV blockchain, allows us to build new technologies to really compete with the existing legacy technology companies. And I really am excited about it. I think that, for example, what we're doing is leveraging Bitcoin blockchain as a database and using that to have some open distributed system to validate reviews, right? But I think ultimately the key... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, just to what you were saying, the Bitcoin SV blockchain has really shown some promise in recent months. There's another website called Twetch that Derek J. has promoted here on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, I signed up for that.
It's also SV-based, and it is essentially a competitor to Twitter, except you're writing your posts. You pay a small amount, like 2 or 3 cents worth of Bitcoin SV, and you can post permanently to the Bitcoin SV blockchain. There's nobody who can, not you, nobody, but there's no one else who can go in and remove your posts. So it's uncensorable, effectively. And the same thing's true about these reviews that people are posting through True Reviews. Isn't that right, Connor?
Exactly. And the important thing really is that, this isn't new. When Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin 10 years ago, this is what we should have been working on 10 years ago. So everyone's now talking about, let's build these decentralized platforms and compete with all these platforms. Well, it's right there to build on the Bitcoin SV blockchain, just as Satoshi Nakamoto envisioned 10 years ago. So I really think the Bitcoin SV blockchain allows us to build these competitors that everyone so desperately wants and needs, and therefore we don't need regulation that like Trump is proposing to to solve the Twitter problem.
Because
right?
that's
And
not going to
actually
solve
build
the
these
problem. I'd like to just point out to anybody out there, and you guys didn't support what Trump was saying, just to be clear.
Yes, I'm not proposing any legislation or regulation. Right. I'm saying that there's a real problem here, and I don't know what to do about it.
Well, I agree with what Connor's saying. You have to outcompete these people. That's the only answer, because if you turn to the state, you're going to find that they're not going to solve this problem for you, or they're only going to make things worse, and they're only going to destroy more freedom of speech.
Well, the state will likely get involved. I mean, let's take a look at what happened with Bitcoin originally. This is a call about cryptocurrency, and I don't know what happened, but if I was the conspiratorial sort, I might say that the government somehow got involved in Bitcoin to the point that they
ruin the original Bitcoin.
They capped the transaction amount and made Bitcoin a useless.
The block size is what you're talking about,
right? The block size
that was capped. And yes, I've always thought that Blockstream, which was the company that came in, it brought a bunch of developers, and it was, in many cases, as I understand it, the Blockstream developers who were insistent that the block size must not grow. And I've always thought that they were influenced somehow by government to damage Bitcoin. And the reason is because as an IT professional, once you have a system deployed in production, I believe that it's absolutely necessary to do whatever it takes to keep that system up and functioning and meeting customers' needs. And that's exactly what the BTC people refused to do when blockchain was, or when Bitcoin was at its height in what should have been our shining hour. They dropped the ball. They refused to implement the obvious solution, and which is what caused Richard Veer to have to fork
Roger Ver
to have to fork.
Connor, go ahead. What do you think about that?
Real quick.
Go ahead.
Well, I think the important thing is look, there's been a lot of cryptocurrency infighting for the past 10 years, and I think Bitcoin has lost the battle of digital payments to legacy financial systems like PayPal, Venmo, all these things. But the important thing to remember is that the Bitcoin SD, we don't need to argue anymore. The Bitcoin SD blockchain works. It is Bitcoin as it was originally intended. And you can now build really innovative technology. So in our case, for example, so we've now partnered with AnyPay. And now what we can do is you can go into a store, you can pay with cryptocurrency, then that purchase can be tokenized on the blockchain. So when you go to make a real review later on, we can actually validate you're not some person just astroturfing reviews. But we can actually solve this astroturf problem by validating things onto this distributed blockchain. So the important thing really is that, like, we don't need to fight anymore. There's a blockchain that does everything that everyone wants, and it's there. It works right now, and you can build.
People are going to fight, Connor. even though
that's fine.
Even though you've got a really useful blockchain, and I've seen some pretty cool tools. There's, for whatever reason, people love their little teams. They love their fighting, and they love their disagreements. So it's likely.
But we can build innovative technology above. Sorry?
Is your system open source?
Well, what system? So we use a wallet that is open source. Is that what you're concerned about?
Okay. Obviously, the blockchain itself is open source. I guess the question is, how difficult would it be for other sites to say, well, you can leave your review here instead because, for example, the True Review site is down? How difficult would that be?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, that's why, honestly, we're not trying to be a competitor to TripAdvisor. We're building technology that TripAdvisor could use, for example, right? So the important thing to do is no one understands this blockchain thing. Let's build these technologies that are actually innovative, that aren't possible without a global blockchain. Let's build that technology and then allow other companies to use it. And that's how you get mass adoption of cryptocurrency. You don't get mass adoption of cryptocurrency by going and telling your friends and family, hey, we have this new monetary system and it's going to beat the fiat system, and by the way, digital payments are really cool. Like, people don't care about that anymore, especially, right?
Yeah, and
so
they especially don't care if you tell them you got to pay $5 to send a transaction, like you do on the Bitcoin BTC blockchain. Hey, Connor, great hearing from you. Thanks for sharing your tech with us tonight. I definitely appreciate what you guys are doing out there, and it'll be interesting to see how that grows in the future, and if people actually start to adopt it, because it sounds pretty useful. We are out of time for tonight. Don't forget, electnobody.com. He's getting ready to kick off his campaign next week.
Yep.
So if you want to help him out, you can get on over there, and there are ways to do that at
It's true.
electnobody.com. And we will see you tomorrow night. Actually, the Marianas edition of Free Talk Live is live from the Northern Mariana Islands tomorrow night, so stay tuned for that. Meantime, join us at freetalklive.com.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat.
Gold is trading at $1,720, silver at $17.92, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,443.
Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/free kratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news,
the fierce wave of protests washing over South Minneapolis in response to the brutal killing of George Floyd by police took a violent turn Wednesday night as a standoff between community demonstrators and highly armed officers in the Minneapolis Police Department's 3rd Precinct spilled into neighboring businesses, leading to property destruction and buildings set ablaze. On Thursday, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey confirmed that he had called on the National Guard to assist local law enforcement in pacifying the protesters, whose smoldering anger has led to one of the worst mass disturbances the U.S. has seen in recent years. The mayor's request that the military be dispatched to the Midwestern city appeared to be interpreted as an admission that local police agencies, themselves the focal point of community anger, have simply lost the ability to rein in the protests. The Minnesota State Patrol, St. Paul Police, and Metro Transit Police have also been called in to support the besieged Minneapolis Police Department, who have already shown signs of fatigue after only 2 nights of protests.
Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues.
As the economy plunges into depression with tens of millions of people unemployed, Walmart is taking no chances on losing its customer base, announcing this week it will start selling used clothing, used shoes, and used accessories on its website. Activist Post reports that Walmart recognizes that consumers have been severely affected by the coronavirus lockdowns, which have sparked depressionary unemployment levels, had to quickly find new ways to continue expanding sales while offering super low prices. Walmart figured a partnership with San Francisco-based ThredUp, one of the largest online thrift stores in the country, could be that solution, where customers can buy pre-owned garments and shoes and accessories for up to 90% off. U.S. President Donald Trump might be one of Twitter's most active users, but has had harsh words for the social media platform this week, after the site fact-checked one of his claims about voting by mail. Trump even went so far as to threaten to strongly regulate or even potentially shut down social media websites for attempting to interfere with political speech and election results. It's the first time that Trump has been fact-checked on the site, as public figures are often given a pass in circumstances such as this because their comments are a matter of public discourse, as offensive as they may be at times. But increased calls for the moderation of Trump's tweets have led to increased scrutiny over his profile. The Mind Unleashed reports President Trump was so outraged by the actions against his profile, he has signed an executive order in regards to content moderation on social media sites. Twitter founder and CEO Jack Dorsey defended the site's actions on Wednesday night, saying he was not censoring Trump but providing other sources so people could look deeper into the issue.
Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
The Onion looks back at This Week in History. On May 6, 1937, the explosion of the German passenger ship Hindenburg brought cheer to an entire generation of Americans in the midst of the Great Depression. The souls of the American people were fleetingly revitalized by the flame-engulfed Zeppelin and the shrill screams of burning passengers leaping to their heartwarming deaths.
Oh my, it's burst into flames! The burning embers and charred flesh are cascading splendidly onto the mooring mast. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most terrific thing I've ever seen. Oh, the luminosity, the gaiety!
And on May 7th, 2000, Vladimir Putin became president of Russia after promising citizens he could bend anything they gave him with just his bare hands. And that was what happened this week in history. In the words of the Italian philosopher Niccolo Machiavelli, whoever wants to foresee the future must first look at the past and then imagine all that old stuff looking more future-y and space-like.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Let us make them remember, we are not afraid!
Yeah, and declare your independence from me, Ernest Hancock, out in Pony Pound, the western desert of Phoenix. We're out. We're out of the house. We're out. We finished we're out. We moved the moving van out in the desert, and we're out. and we're autonomous in our, and got to push all the right buttons, and Bob helped me push the right buttons.
Here.
Yeah, we were like, hey, wait, we don't have power there. It's that button. Okay. So we're working on, finally we just had to pull the moving van, getting everything moved is all nice and neat and up in the tall, all the way to the ceiling boxes of the kind, throw it. So it's not so neat anymore.
Yeah, it's combat offload.
Combat offload is what we call it. So it's we're out, and one thing that we got that we got Hannah, the dog. Hey Hannah, what's up? She was like, hey man, I'm not getting left, am I? It's kind of I don't know. Better be sitting at the door when we leave, because I ain't looking for you. So anyway, she's out. She's feeling it. She's probably pretty good.
Yeah, she'll dig on it once you guys get on the road a little bit, and she realizes, oh, this is a thing.
Yeah, we get to go see green grass and stuff. We're at Bob Anderson's, and Bob's been a good friend for a long time. We met in November, December of '93. Yeah. So it was like before, and that's when we really, all right, I'm like, you guys want to rock and roll? We're going to rock and roll. Let's rock and roll. And they go, well, let's rock and roll. So it was probably a good 2 dozen of us that, started the whole thing and then became a thing. And Bob's gone through different phases in his life, and now he's out in the lone prairie of I just shut the front gate and let me know when the world, is done doing its thing.
Retired and on vacation.
It's that we all strive to be Bob. Oh, I got sound now. Bugs, man.
Yeah, it'll work itself out. There was a little something there for a minute.
Oh, Donna, she pushed the button. Hey, you're just yakking. If you're not on the mic, man, I don't know what you're talking about.
Something tripped back there. I don't know what it is.
It was the air conditioner shut off.
The mic's on, so we're good as long as it's not 5 billion degrees yet.
Yeah, it's still putting out a signal, right?
Yeah. No, we're trying video too. We're not Wi-Fi'd into anything. We got our SIM card over there going. We're out in the middle of the freaking desert, so we got enough bandwidth for. We're short on one thing though. We don't have bulletproof coffee ready.
That's right. No, the coffee.
But Donna's on it. She's on it because they got combat loaded. The RV is go. The guys are here to take the van out. Go. But what about leaving the hose? We had a lot of hose they got. This is a nice hose. I've had that for a long time. I was
could have brought it. I need hose.
Yeah.
Out of all the pandemic stuff, if the world zombie apocalypse or whatever, I would miss paper towels and garden hoses.
You get back into Phoenix, you go get it. There's 2 of them, that big black one and the green one. Just go. I felt bad leaving that. Hell yeah, that's Bob's. It's got Bob. It's Bob's name. Bob's name's all over it.
Yeah, I use hose everywhere out there.
Yeah, no, I go get it. The now that we got time, now I'm going to be driving. We'll check fluids and do all of whatever and everything, and then we'll head out. But it's going to be driving. But take a look at the news. You look at the stuff. We had Lon over, been a good friend of yours since Navy days back in the '80s, some long time ago. Because I've known Lon as long as I've known you, and he's always been. He goes, "It's on, man. I'm ready. Let's do it."
He's an older guy. He's got nothing to lose. The worst nightmare for people.
He's embracing his curmudgeon.
He's ready.
And he's kind of been. Lon is an interesting footnote in a lot of the stuff that we've done too, because Lon's cousin is Randy Weaver. What'd they call that? Ruby Ridge. So Ruby Ridge was his cousin. So what we did is we drafted him to run for sheriff against Arpaio back in 2000 or something. The Y2K, the millennial, whatever. And the volume's low. All right. Because since when are they yelling at me for having low volume?
We can't hear Ernie. Yeah, like in what world?
I'm going, 1, 2, 3, there. You happy?
I need to bring my earplugs just to be in a car with you.
Literally. You know, we're driving back to Massachusetts, and Bob's like got his earplugs.
Yeah.
You know,
at least my right side earplug.
You know, so it just I go, is it that bad? Yeah. I went on a road trip with Ed Vallejo, and I'm like, wow, is it that bad? You know, is that what it's like? You know, being with her. Damn. You know, bring it down. I'm more conscious now. But Lonnie, he ran as we put him up. You know, committee as Greg Tivnan. You know, it was Greg Tivnan lives in Missouri now. He's got a farm and so on. And we go, committee to draft the constitutional sheriff law, something like that, right? So we put it in, and Arpaio sent his detectives, got to talk to him. You know, they stopped by his house and left a card and called him. He didn't call him. He's like, screw you guys, I don't give a crap. They came to his work. Anyway, we just want to talk to you, explain it to you. And then Arpaio called me, and he goes, hey, man, I got to be worried about this? Because he was Randy Weaver's cousin. After what they did, they're just like, they're in this militia thing, you know. They're just like, what's going on? So Char, his wife and his ex-wife, she and Lon went down to the Arizona Republic. They did pictures. They did a front page story. It was a thing, and we were just playing it like, you know, just having fun with it. So Lon, you know, he was good about it. He's like, all right, yeah, I can see what you're doing. You know,
do I have to do anything? No, we're good.
Whatever, man. Yeah, I'm Mr. Lon Weber. You know, so we've done a lot of stuff like that. Then, you know, and Bob's ran in 2 congressional races, Owens, Hayworth, Anderson 1 and 2. You know, that was the most expensive congressional race at that time. Up till that time, it was, God, 40, 60, 80 million. That was some ridiculous amount of money the R's and D's going after. It's just money they printed anyway. So, I mean, you know, whatever. But so there's a lot of this stuff, and a lot of this experience is going out on the road with us. And we're going to meet a lot of Bob and Ernie's and Lon's and, you know, a lot of the other guys, you know, Kent and Fran and John and Mike and Gary and John. I mean, you know, there's all of us. There was a biography that I read about Paul Revere, and it was written by a grandson or great-grandson or something, and it was the story of how Paul Revere's dad, I think, was indentured servant from Italy or something. You shipped your kids off, you know, college, my get on the ship. You're going to go learn to be a silversmith or whatever, right? So he was the silversmith, did a lot of the engravings, you know, the Boston Massacre, and of course he had, you know, tea sets and all that stuff. But it was interesting, the Sons of Liberty, how all of the people around in Boston, I know that guy, and I know that guy, just different characters that make up the tapestry of revolution. We're going to talk a little revolution when we come. Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agoristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agorist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agoristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agoristhosting.com.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
You're already listening to LRN.FM, whether via our 24/7 satellite feed, online streaming audio, or our video feeds. LRN.FM's content is available in multiple ways, but what if all you have is your phone and no data connection? You can call our listen line at 641-793-8869. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-8869.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
It's Ernie and Bob and Doc on the Love Bus out in the desert doing the show, just doing her job. All right, well, Donna's doing her job. She's making Bulletproof, and then I will start putting up some stories and so on that are breaking. But Bob, you've been up already. You're looking at mayhem around the world. What's up?
Well, apparently they're getting a little upset with police conduct in Minneapolis, and they're burning things and looting stores, and the city's pretty much in chaos, and it sounds like it's bleeding over into L.A. So I mean, they got stuff going on in L.A. right now too. So it's
so what let us open, or
no, this is
Rodney
about,
Danger. I mean, what you call it?
I can't remember what the guy's name is.
Yeah,
but no, the guy they just choked
Rodney
out yesterday.
King.
Well, Rodney King was that was
L.A.
L.A.
Yeah, but it was riots and God.
Yeah, no, it's going to be another one of those things. It's like it was a pretty disturbing video. I mean, you always want to reserve judgment, but I mean, I can't conceivably think from what I saw going on in the video that there was any justification for what this, whatever this guy say whatever they say he could have done. Yeah, it didn't deserve the death penalty, and this guy basically, from the video, summarily just killed the guy. You're handcuffed, you're on the ground, I'm going to kneel on your neck.
Yeah, it was like the New York thing. He was selling onesie cigarettes, and they just choked him out.
Well, apparently this guy, they went to, somebody had reported someone was doing check fraud or forgery or something in the cops, and he matched the description.
He was black.
And so they dragged him out of the car, and apparently it wasn't him. This guy was just minding his own business, and we'll find out more as the investigation goes out. But apparently, This guy was just minding his own business, and the cops dragged him out of his car, handcuffed him, threw him on the ground, and killed him.
Yeah, he's handcuffed. He's laying face first on, and this guy has his knee on his neck.
And the guy basically for the first 30 seconds to a minute is like basically, hey, I can't breathe. And then pretty soon he gets quiet because he can't breathe. And the guy just, nailed on him for the length of the video was good 3 or 4 minutes.
Well, come to find out that this officer had been involved in a shooting, and some other stuff. Discipline. They finally and he's fired. And the people went, and we don't care. We're going to riot anyway.
Well, the thing, part of it is they're asking the questions like, well, it's nice that you fired him, but why isn't he behind bars? This had been anybody else, they'd be behind bars. Why is this guy getting special treatment because he's part of the thin blue line kind of thing? And the people have had their fill. I certainly wouldn't want to be, a law enforcement officer with what's coming down the pipe, the way that they're being asked to herd the public. They're becoming the tip of the spear to some pretty evil people, and
now
they're going to have to make a moral judgment. And you've seen some of that. The guy in Seattle that got fired for speaking out to the rest of his brethren, going, "Hey, we really shouldn't be doing what we're doing."
He goes, "Yeah, I want to sail around the world anyway. Screw him."